reportedly expected to bring in Jordan Clarkson on veteran minimum once he clears waivers from his buyout from the Jazz. A former Sixth Man of the Year, Clarkson averaged over 16 points per last season. Knicks also reportedly expected to bring in Mike Brown for a second interview as they continue to look for a new head coach. And the Nets, a big move. They sent Cam Johnson to the Nuggets in exchange for Michael Porter Jr. and a first-round pick in 2032. Johnson, a breakout season, averaged nearly 19 per game, while Porter Jr. averaged just over 18 points a game and 7 rebounds last year. 79 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park. That's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
It's AM to AM. WAM.
Yeah. New York City, let's get to it, man. 888-808-1019. I'm not going to waste my whole time on the Yankees. Trades have happened in the NFL. Deals are happening in the NBA. We got some other stuff to get to. But, yeah, I mean, come on, yo. I got to put out a disclaimer tonight before I start. I know it's June. Wake me up when June ends. That'll happen before I get out of here. Disclaimer, the thoughts and opinions expressed on my show tonight do not reflect the love and fandom that I have for the New York Yankees. More just my frustration right now with these New York Yankees. And I'm going to tell you how I feel about them. This is negative Keithy. This is bad Keithy AI. You know, my boy Joe's just said it in his post-game video. He said the Yankees have a glass jaw. And when you hear someone say you have a glass jaw, that means when you get punched in the mouth, that's it. Finito. Done. You don't have the ability to fight and come back. You don't have the ability to defend yourself. Once you get hit, once they land that punch on you, that's wraps. And too many times we've seen that happen with the New York Yankees here just in this month. Let's stay with June, which they're calling the June Boone Swoon. The Boone June Swoon, however you want to put the words, they all rhyme and it makes sense because we've seen it before. We felt it before. This team was riding high for the first 2 months, and now the month ends going 13-14. It was a lock. You had to know they were going to lose that first game tonight. I was on Sportsnet 590 Toronto Sports Talk this morning, feeling good coming off of the Sunday victory against the Oakland A's, Sacramento A's, Las Vegas A's. But at the same time, I knew it's the A's, bro. It's the A's. They got the A's yesterday to take the series. But, I mean, just Saturday, what happened Saturday? 888-808-1019. You know, they blew leads this whole month against the Reds. They just did it last week. They had the scoreless streak. They had the streak of not having a lead for, I don't know, like 50 innings. Back-to-back series losses to the Boston Red Sox. And I'm looking at this Yankees team right now, and they're getting hit by injuries. So take it easy if you wanted to start talking down on the Mets who are ravaged by injuries. The Yankees have their own injuries hitting them. Be careful what you wish for as well. Jason Dominguez, he should play every day. The Martian should be in there every day. Well, he's about to be. Trent Grisham, who had a hamstring in the spring, he's got a hamstring again. I think it might be the same hammy. Turf monster got him. That tricky turf up there in Toronto. And you know what? You go to Toronto after yesterday's day game, and you got to go through customs and Carlos Rodon on the mound. And I'm not mad at Los tonight. There's some of you that want to kind of go back to that Red start and be like, oh, he should have given us more. He threw 96 pitches. They made a decision. He got into the sixth inning. He gave up a double. They gave up. We'll get there. We'll get there. They made a decision. But this is a division rival. This is a team that is on your heels. And they're not even the team right behind you in the standings. They're 2 games back. So after the Yankees now have blown a 7.5 game lead this month, it's not just the Rays you have to worry about. Thank you to the Vegas, Sacramento, Oakland A's for scoring 2 runs, rallying and beating the Tampa Bay Rays down at the boss, George M. Steinbrenner, tonight, 6-4. And the Red Sox, it's funny, if you just heard, the post game, you heard how the Red Sox jumped all over Chase Burns, the rookie phenom of the Reds, who came out, struck out, the Yankees. He only got 1 out tonight. But anyway, back to where we are. Here comes Toronto. I took a call last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm blanking on dude's name. He might be listening right now, where he said, Keith, the Blue Jays are better than the Yankees. I said, no, they're not. They're frauds. They're always frauds until proven otherwise. And you know what? Let's see. Tomorrow, lucky us, we've got Max Fried, the stopper, and Kevin Gossman on the mound, who's trash against the Yankees, and maybe they bounce back. But it's a 4-game set here, and you got to play up there in Toronto in the Rogers Center. I don't know. Tonight was a terrible loss. Tonight was a loss that it's like you don't need to lose a game like that, man. Like, Jazz is balling out of control, at least hitting wise. We're going to talk about Jazz. I'm just, I'm not going to give you guys a recap. Jazz stays hot, 4 homers in 5 games, kind of playing the Robin to Judge's Batman. But John Schneider, the manager of the Blue Jays, took Batman out of the game. Batman's not going to beat us tonight. Robin, Aquaman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, one of y'all figure out how to beat us tonight. And, Belly comes through with a bomb, and we would need it because right after that, man, it's like they unraveled. When you're watching these games at home, it sucks because you can just feel them unraveling. That 6th inning. Let's talk about it. The infield defense is shaky now. It's been, but like now it's a glaring issue and need and something that needs to be fixed. You can't go through the motions. You can't put a little Band-Aid on things. You can't just say, oh, DJ is back. He makes $15 million a year. He's going to play second base. Jazz Chisholm, who we traded for last year, who we wanted to move Gleyber Torres off second base. Oh, hey, Gleyber, all-star. We're going to move Jazz back to third, which, damned us in the World Series a bit. Not so much on Jazz, but we'll always remember that spike throw that Volpe threw at him and he wasn't able to handle. Oh, and then here we go. It always lands on Anthony Volpe. 888-808-1019. We're all rooting for you, kid. I just listened to the post game, and I guess the logic in the post game between him and Boone was that those weren't bad throws. In the moment, I'm freaking out as I'm feeling them unraveling, as I'm feeling them melting. I'm like, this is too familiar. I'm like, this it happens too much. But Boone said he had no issue with the throw to third. You just got to be accurate. Boone said he didn't think he would get Clement at first, but shortstops are typically going to try and make those plays, and that's what Volpe had to say. Volpe basically said he made the throw because he feels like he can or he should make those plays, but you did not. And the game is on the line. And this is a team with a bunch of little pesky guys that put the ball in play and they can run on that turf. So you would like to see him eat the ball. You like to see him put that in his pocket. Definitely the throw to third where it's like, come on, what are we doing? And then, trying to do the Jeter play, going all the way to your right, throwing across the field. I don't know, man. It's super frustrating because they're better than this. They have the talent. And like I said, I'm not mad at Rodon tonight. Paulie texts me. He's like, this guy is sweaty. It's climate control in there, and he's sweating. I'm like, that's Rodon. He was visibly upset about, being taken out. And, he had some words with Wells in the dugout. And I like that because I was talking about him kind of bowing out in Cincinnati because it was hot, feeling like at 88 pitches, you got to come into the 7th and try here. And that's what happened tonight. He comes into the 6th, gives off a leadoff double, 96 pitches. He's done. Flash the bullpen budget. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, here we go. Mark Leiter Jr. Haven't seen you since last Wednesday. Since the loss in Cleveland. Or actually, no, I don't know. The bullpen budget is somewhere. He pitched the first 2 games in Cleveland. That was Monday and Tuesday. It doesn't matter, yo. It's just like when Mark Leiter Jr. comes into the game, are you confident? You feel good about that? You feel like we're in a good spot? And now Fernando Cruz, right? I already told you Griff Grisham got by the turf. Turf. Grisham, the turf monster, gets him on the base paths. He's out. And we find out that a medicine ball got Fernando Cruz warming up. He's got a high oblique strain. See ya. Him and Grisham. See ya. Him and Grisham. Like, Grisham's out probably after the All-Star break. Who knows? And Fernando Cruz, I don't know. Get him ready for September. Get him ready for the postseason push. Who is your guy late in innings? I mean, shout out to Tim Hill coming in and doing his thing. 3 easy ground balls. Never too worried about Tim Hill, but, like, it's about usage too. Like, Cruz got used a ton, and this is his second trip to the IL. And when you get to the back of that bullpen, who is left, right? Jake Cousins is not coming back. Those names you heard, like Scott Efros, not a thing. Loizaga, shout out to him tonight for what he did coming in after Leiter Jr., but, like, at the same time, the game was lost in that 6th inning. The game was lost. They made a decision to go to Leiter Jr., and Volpe made a good play keeping the ball in the infield, but trying to make that throw to Jazz at third, I don't know why. And I don't care about thinking you should make the, like, you have to, like Boone said, be accurate with the throw. He gets credited with the error as the runner moved to second, and then Clement singles. It's a new ball game. Loizaga comes in to face Springer. JC Escara, that's what JC Escara. He had like a long talking to Boone, and Yes Network was sure to put that on the screen to show us. See, look at Boone talking to his guys, managing. I see. But not long after that, Escara has a catcher's interference, loads the bases. And here comes big money Vladdy. That's why they pay him the big bucks. Hits the ball hard, pass to Jazz Chisholm Jr. Like, I don't know, man. I've said this the last 2 weeks. Sometimes Jazz lets the ball play him over there at third base. Trade for a third baseman. Now, the top 2 priorities are trading for a third baseman and a back of the bullpen reliever. Somebody in the 7th. Who's your 7th inning guy to get to Weaver, to get to Williams? Those are the main issues right now. And it pisses me off because, we do these things year after year after year as far as contracts and playing guys. Like DJ LeMahieu, I'm sorry, bro. After last year, it should have been wraps. DJ goes 0 for 4 with 2 Ks tonight. And he should have been pinch hit for late in that game in the 9th inning. We can't pinch hit Goldie. Why? Because Goldie's in a hoodie in the dugout giving Stanton batting tips, having a whole hitting lesson with Giancarlo Stanton. He's just completely out. Are we trying to win the game, or are we just going to be a glass jaw, soft-ass team that folds against a division rival in their building, giving up a lead? 888-808-1019. Again, the thoughts and opinions expressed on this show tonight, they're not really the fandom, the love, the pride of the Yankees that Keith McPherson has. I'm just negative Keithy, bad Keithy, because it's been a bad and negative month of June. Wake me up when June ends. We're almost there. The Yankees lose another game, and now that lead in the American League East is dwindling, and you got 2 teams on your heels. 2 teams who, don't look now. If you flip the calendar and we go into July, here's 3 against the Blue Jays. But then I just said, hey, be easy with all that talking down on the Mets. Don't lose the series to the Mets and Queens. Don't get swept by the Mets and Queens. And then later in the month, you got to go back to Toronto. And then you've got 4 at home with Tampa, who is having preliminary conversations about hosting the American League Championship as well as the World Series, because they don't fear you, because they think they're going to win the division. And they think if it's them versus you, Kevin Cash versus Aaron Boone in the postseason, we got you. We're renting out your spring training home. We're Airbnb-ing your crib in Tampa, but we'll get up out of here by time October comes, because you're not going to be hosting anything in the Bronx. What a joke. 888-808-1019. The Yankees are a joke with some of the things that we see. The infield is shaky. You got Ben Rice at first because Goldie has to rest, and we got Max Scherzer going tonight. And Max Scherzer, like, turn back the clock for the beginning of the game, whatever. And then you got DJ at second, where it's just like, come on, bro. You got to upgrade. You got to do better there. Not is he just old bones, barely rangy enough to play the position. Nothing at the plate tonight. and you wouldn't take him out of the game in favor. Like Peraza was in the game as a pinch hitter. I don't know, bro. I don't know anything. I don't know what is what. I don't know what to think. I think that this team is soft. I already talked about the culture being soft. I think that they get patted on the back too much. I think that they get told how great they are and what they're going to do. And it's just a lock for them in October to get back to the World Series and win it. And yeah, it's 162 games. June has been terrible. I'm not saying that they can't get back to the World Series and win it, but something's got to change with the roster construction. That's going to happen now because of injuries. Something has to change with this mentality. And I heard Susan say, Aaron Boone was upset tonight. Yeah, I'd be upset too if people are tagging my name on top of the June swoon. I'd be upset too if they're calling it the Boone June swoon, and these guys just blew another lead, blew another game, and now it's against a division opponent, and little things like errors and throwing the ball away and catcher's interference and just not being able to make plays when the ball's in front of you. That's it. And they took Judge right out of the game. And, I mean, you got what you got from Jazz and from Belly, and ultimately it wasn't enough. And the Yankees lose. 888-808-1019. We'll start there. Again, I'm not going to spend the whole night on this. I mean, Mike Brown is about to be the next Knicks head coach. For what? For why? How? How did you land on that? Anyway, NBA free agency. The free agents are starting to be signed and moved. There was a rumor earlier about Jordan Clarkson becoming a Knick, and I think that is confirmed. Also, your Brooklyn Nets. Are the Nets still in the league? Yeah, and they're doing something with the money they have. They're doing something with the picks and with the players they have. They finally traded Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. And yeah, they did get a first-round pick for Cam Johnson. It's just not until the next decade. So we'll get into that, and we'll talk NBA and where some of these other players are going. You're starting to see some of the teams take shape. We'll talk Knicks head coaching search, and eventually we'll talk Mets. I said online, I knew to stay out of the way today. People were raining on the Mets, proclaiming the Mets dead all day, online, all weekend. I didn't do any Mets trolling after Friday when I was on, and I just kind of left it alone because the way I see it, the Yankees aren't out of the woods yet either. The Yankees have played close to just as bad, and today was supposed to be a mental health off day for the Met fan, but they had to hear it all day. When we turn the calendar to July 1st in about 40 minutes, then we'll talk about what's coming as the Mets will host the Brewers and then eventually host the Yankees later this week. And that's a big matchup. That's a huge matchup for so many reasons. It's not going to have the same juice as it did in May, but they'll have our attention a holiday weekend. They'll have the baseball world's attention. There's a lot of guys looking to get right. Keith McPherson on the Fan tonight till 2 a.m. KM to AM returns right after this.
You're juggling work, and receivers can't catch a cold. We get it. And we got you, New York sports, no filter. The Fan, 101.9 FM, is live on the Odyssey app.
You're leaving us? You're matching pajamas. Matching silk pajamas. You discover Heineken and now you go out to watch live sports? We were literally made to wrap you in luxury, to vibe, to recharge your soul. And your weighted blanket is here. It's like a blanket that's so weighted.
All right, cool.
Don't listen to your PJs. Head to the game with some friends and grab some ice cold Heinekens.
My phone is about to die. Chat 1 minute. I got to send out the live on my Instagram. live on the Fan, talking about the Yankees. Gonna eventually talk about the Knicks, NBA, free agency, Mets, maybe even a little bit about the Steelers and what they're trying to do. I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. They couldn't be more opposite. Oh, that's crazy. For the first time, I just saw the WFAN commercial. I like that. I was just on it. That's my first time seeing it. Tune into the live. All right, here we go. Let's charge this phone up. Oh.
800-655-6697. Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 6.
All right, let's lock in.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you
StreamYard doesn't count. Wait till what will it take to get Boone out of here? He just signed a contract extension, bro. Nothing. There is no getting Boone out of here. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, said that too. You're you know the vibes. That inning sucked. Yeah, that was the game. That in the 8th. What's good? What you think about the trade for Cam? I like it. I'll talk about it in a minute. Bipolar Yankees. Yeah, they can't get anything going here. All right, let's switch the audio. Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Brooklyn. In the chat, they're like, what do you think about the Cam J for MPJ trade? We'll get to it. We got to talk about the Yankees, man. That's a terrible month of June for a team that is supposed to be hell-bent on being a champion. That is just not the vibes for a team that has all this talent, high payroll, all these fans, all these, expectations. But the silver lining is the trade deadline's coming, and Cashman has to make some moves. He can't let this team keep going like this. And so if you're going to have a bad month, have it in June. If you're going to have a bad month, have it before the All-Star break. This team looks like they need the All-Star break. And, yeah, have it where you can make some calls in these upcoming weeks to try and figure some things out. Even the bad luck of the injuries happening now. But, I mean, injuries, whatever. Like, Trent Grisham goes down. They got somebody that they can put right in, Jason Dominguez. They got enough arms. Tonight was just about them folding, man. That 8th inning was the game, too. The 6th inning and the 8th inning. 6th inning defensively, giving it up. But then the 8th inning, you get the belly bomb, and then they take Judge out of the game. And so that's what it is about the glass jaw, too. It's like, the rest of y'all know, without Judge, like, you're just going to fold. You're not going to get it done. So Jazz bunts, and you know what they said? Like, Jazz was bunting for a hit and trying to get a hit. He's your hottest hitter right now. He bunts to make the first out. You just took the guy out that could actually hit the 2-run bomb, hit a double. And he's been clutch with his homers and his hits too. So I don't know who's making the calls here, man. Did Jazz do that on his own? Whatever. Chad Green comes in, walks Stanton. Ben Rice flies out, and then what happened? It falls on Volpe. It always falls on Volpe with 2 outs. He had a terrible game. He's in a bad stretch right now. I feel for the kid, but at the same time, like, I listen to his post game. I'm like, come on, bro. Just have more of a tone about you, way about you. We need you. We need you. So, bottom of the 8th, an easy inning for Tim Hill, but I already started packing up. I'm like, let me get ready to go in. They're not winning this game. The Martian gave you a great AB. But like I said, we couldn't pinch it. Goldie, yeah, because there's just this thought that a DJ LeMahieu somewhere in there is still the machine. Like, we know that. We know that that's not the case. You gotta upgrade. You gotta do better. The Dodgers would do better. The Dodgers don't care about money. That's just one team. But they're a perfect example of a team that's like, they don't care about relationships, feelings, money. They're like, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough because you might come up with an at-bat to potentially win the game, tie the game, whatever, and no, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. So let's have at it. 888-808-1019. Neil is in Irvington, New Jersey on the Fan. What's up, Neil?
Hey, what's up, Keith? How you doing, man?
I knew you heard me.
Yo, Neil, he say the same thing you say. Yo, Keith, the 6th inning, the 8th inning, just like you said, in a good, like Aaron Boone, get on tonight. Oh, a shortstop will make that for the third. No, not a shortstop. He did. He did. Keith, I'm just done with the Yankees right now. And I'm going to say one more thing, Keith. This weekend, watch the Mets sweep the Yankees. Almost coached Keith, sorry.
Hey,
they're going to sweep
I'm with you. Thanks for the call, Neil. I'm not with you as far. I don't want that to happen, but that's why I've been. Don't troll them. No memes, no gifs, no jokes about losing to the Pirates, and having a players-only meeting just to come out and get. Let me stop. Like, we don't have any room to do that. Like, as a Yankee fan, you have nothing to look at the Met fan right now and say anything about, especially with, like, what's on the horizon. These are my Mets. These are. I don't know what the hell they were doing this weekend. I was, like, really concerned. When it all falls down, when it rains, it pours. But, yeah, it's bad for the Yankees, too. Hold the ball, man. Don't throw the ball around. I don't know where does the confidence come from that you can make these throws and make these plays. It means your internal clock is off. It also means your baseball IQ in those moments is not where it needs to be, not as high as it needs to be for the New York Yankees shortstop, which is a marquee position on the most marquee team in the world. And now it's like you cannot get out of the spotlight. The microscope is on you. Like, even, Volpe came up in the 7th. After all that nonsense in the 6th, strikes out. Like, can't even carry it over offensively to say, you know what? I didn't make those plays. I cost us. I made some mistakes. I'm going to get on here. I'm going to have a good at bat here. I'm going to get on and I'm going to steal a base. Yeah. I don't know, man. Robbie's in Lenox on the Fan next. What's up, Robbie?
Hey, Keith, you know what? I have a gig in Saturday night, and I'll tell you what, my voice is shot because let me start with this, all right? First of all, I said yesterday after they beat Oakland, I said, watch, they're going to go to Toronto and they're going to lose by 1 run. And I was absolutely 100% right. I mean, this is typical of this team. So let's start with the pitching, okay? Carlos Rodon, why can't this guy be economical, okay? However, he's given up 1 run. 1 run in 5 1/3 innings. And here comes Boone again. Oh, he's got to take him out. He's got to micromanage the game. He's got to do his little analytics with 3rd time around the order, all this crap. This man has no feel for the game, Keith. Keith, haven't you had enough of Aaron Boone? Wasn't last year wasn't the ultimate the camel? That broke. Was the straw that broke the camel's back? Seriously, with Nestor Cortez.
No, he got an extension after that. No, he's rigged up for the next 2 seasons after this one. So
okay, Anthony Volpe, did you listen to his comments after the game?
I did, and even just his voice.
That's
what got me.
He made 2 stupid mistakes.
Like, at least, be a man about it, young man, and with some, bass in your voice, talk about, I thought I could make the play. I thought I could make the throw. I was wrong. I take accountability before. Instead of letting these pen pushers press you about the mistakes you make, and it's like, yep, Yep.
It's BS. You know what? It's on the manager, okay? How about Jazz bunting? How about Boone's comments? Oh, well, it's okay if he doesn't. No, it's not, because he's been the hottest hitter. It's an idiotic play. Aaron Boone, you won't bunt in the ninth and the eighth inning, and you won't bunt in extra innings because you stink in extra innings, but you're going to let the guy bunt in the fifth inning, but that's okay. That's a smart play.
Thanks for the call, Robbie. It's all good, though. Like, we got to woo-saw. We got to take the approach of Aaron Boone and the Yankees. None of this matters. It's okay. Everything is always justified. And that's why I got into my rant last week that I didn't even try to, that was impromptu. That was just me, being fed up with the conversation. I'm like, everything is okay for these guys. Like, everything is okay. And I get it to a point in the media, but come on, man. Don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining. Every single time. Every single time. These guys can do no wrong. And we sit there and we're uncomfortable and we sit there like, what is going on? And when you go and get the answers, there's always the answer of, oh, well, it's like taking up for these guys. There's got to be a certain point in time, even with Carlos Mendoza in this last stretch. He stopped some of that. Steady Mendy, who obviously learned a little bit from the Boone school of managing, being his bench coach, he started calling a spade a spade. Sometimes you got to call it out.
Yeah, even Mendy said after Sunday's game that, listen, we have to play better. Guys aren't playing up to the back of their baseball card, for lack of a better term. We have to play better. And that's what Mendy's good at. Mendy can call it's not even calling his team out or embarrassing his guys. You can just do that. You can just be like, yeah, no crap, we're not playing well.
Yeah, that works better.
That
works better than proclaiming that you're better than this and you're just having a bad month. Because July, I'm telling you, this schedule for the Yankees in July is unkind. This might go on into July. What do they call July?
Yeah, it's weird. And I wonder if Boone is just trying to coddle Volpe, for lack of a better term. Young player.
Trying to protect him.
The team didn't want to trade him for the last 3 years. They didn't want to trade him for Luis Castillo back when they wanted Castillo. And Volpe knows he's struggling. He sees everything. He knows he can't hit his way out of a paper bag. He knows he's trying to make up for it on the defensive side of the ball. And this is the guy that was proclaimed to be the next Derek Jeter. That's what everyone said. And by the way, it wasn't his fault.
I don't think there ever is another next Derek Jeter. I don't know who actually called him that. I just think that it was the picture of him with Jeter and being a local kid and him coming up the way he did young. But there's no way.
But he was untouchable. We spoke about
as he should have been.
How they made the decision that, you know what? It doesn't matter who we want. We are not giving up on this guy. He is our guy. He is our shortstop. This is going to be the future. He's going to lead the way. And he's nowhere close to that. And if he doesn't make up for it at the rest of the season, he won't be on the team in the coming years.
Yeah, it sucks. He's tied for the most errors among American League shortstops with 11. When you talk about Volpe, though, a lot just gets piled on the kid. I don't think anybody in the Yankees organization said he was the next Jeter. Sure, did they want him to be a star? I knew that when he wanted to wear 77, and they're like, nah, bro, you got to wear a lower number than that. We got to sell your jersey. So they took Gardner's jersey that, Gardy wasn't coming back to come and get. And Gardy gave his blessing, and Volpe wore 11. Maybe they should let him change back to 77. Maybe that'll give him some swag and some mojo and some energy. But
by the way, what's 1 + 1? 2. Derek Jeter. Yeah, and again, this is all there. They knew it. Maybe they didn't say Jeter directly, but everything that Cashman told us that we saw with our eyes from the reporters, from all of the insiders of the Yankees and the minor leagues, that this was our treasure. We're not moving him for anybody.
Yeah, but I think it was more like Baseball America and just the rankings. The other night, I went back to the Futures game that I saw in L.A., and him and Francisco Alvarez were in that game. Also, I think Ken Waldachuk was in that game, and I forget who else. And Volpe was a top-ranked guy. The Yankees don't make the rankings. That doesn't matter. The thing is, Volpe hasn't been good enough in this stretch. The thing is, we can't hide from it anymore. We can't look past it. There was a point in time where we were saying, well, Volpe's mistakes or Volpe's errors or lack of hitting is not hurting the team. Now it is. No one can hide from it. No one can run from it. He can't hide from it. He can't run from it. Boone can make up whatever and say whatever. They can both be in agreement on, oh, yeah, well, I can't with the coulda, shoulda, woulda. Oh, these are plays that we could have or should have made. The plays weren't made. And that was the game right there. If that ball gets held and it's not thrown around, I don't know. You got to be smart. You're the captain of the infield. You're the shortstop of the New York Yankees. It is a high pressure situation because of Derek Jeter. No one expects you to be Derek Jeter, but we expect you to be competent. We expect you to be solid. We expect you to be smart. And we expect a little bit more at the plate as well. And it's just tough because of the players that he came up with. The names I don't need to mention because they get mentioned in the same breath of him all the time. The players that the Yankees did not trade for where they could have given them up. And then also the free agent players that they passed on, which I still am with that as well. Because if you had a Corey Seager, if you had a Carlos Correa, a Trevor Story, Javi Baez, or one of those guys, it would have been a big spend. And those guys are injury prone or those guys are not as effective. Baez is like playing the outfield now. Trevor Story's missed a ton of games. Corey Seager's missed a ton of games. Carlos Correa had an issue that literally landed him in Minnesota. I still think they made the right move. What has to happen is Volpe has to happen. He's got to play better. He's got to make better decisions. He's got to have better at-bats. And all around him. I think it would help him to have Jazz at second base. I think it would help him to have an actual third baseman to the right of him. Instead of Jazz, who's like, I don't know, the ball goes under his glove. Sometimes Jazz, and he's made some plays. I was there yesterday, Sunday. He made some great plays. But at the same time, it's like, we need all of them, man. It's the hot corner. Got to do better. Richie's in Queens on the Fan next. What's up, Richie?
Hey, good morning, Keith.
Good morning. Well, it's still night.
Evening.
Yeah, it's still night.
Yeah, I'm watching my baseball Giant game here. If I just watch the end of the Yankee game, it seems like Volpe strikes out every time with a man on.
It's not clutch.
But
I haven't seen him be clutch in these moments, and it's like painful. I'm like, with 2 outs, it always lands on him. And I feel bad for the guy. It's like the baseball gods are like, yep, you again. Here you go. Get up. Your opportunity to be a hero or a zero, and it just puts him in a bad spot so much because he can't do it.
Yeah, I agree. And Keith, another thing here. I'm watching, as I was waiting for you, I'm watching the Bad Boys from '88 with the Detroit Pistons. And I know you're an aficionado when it comes to basketball. When you see these games, the physicality.
Completely different sport. Yeah,
oh, my God. It's almost criminal. And what they got with Rick Mahone, Bill Lambert. But that's the way they played back then. Okay, the Yankees real quick. I don't get Jazz bunting. That's absolutely incredible. And he sits there and he says the same thing. I don't know what he says behind closed doors. I don't. But that's something that has to be addressed. He's got 10 homers in June. They walk yards to get to him, man. This is where I'm going to pull up. I'm going to come up with the big hit, the double, the home run, or whatever. It made no sense. And I really believe, Keith, that Volpe doesn't understand what he's saying. When he says part of the game, that's baseball. You know what baseball is? When you play hard, you hit line drives, the other pitcher outplays you, you get the key hit. That's baseball. But mental mistakes are not baseball. You've got to think about those runners moving up.
Right. Baseball has so much that you can't control. Control what you can control.
Absolutely. And Jeter, look, he's not Jeter. The kid Wilson, by the way, I don't know where he came from. We don't expect him to be 6% strikeout rate. The kid shortstop for Oakland. We don't expect that from
Wilson. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. And the thing with Jeter, to compare him, totally unfair. But Derek would know not to make that throw. So you can, mental mistakes, physicality, you can't compete, but mentally you got to be sharper. Real quick with the Mets. Yeah, you remember Michael Ray Richardson? His famous statement was, the ship be sinking and sky's the limit. And I don't want to say it's over, but there is no direction that you can say positively, which what happened to them with Sanger, Canning, McGill. They have Blackburn in there. They have Frankie Montos in there that pitched up to his 13 ERA. There is, and the back end, Keith, I told you in the beginning of the year, I did not like their lineup. I said to you, what's Alvarez? I don't know. It's Vientos. It's his first year. Winker, having Siri, who's been hurt. So all of this stuff's going back to bite him. And Holmes is a 5-inning pitcher. He's going to kill the bullpen. I tell you, I'm not one to say it's over, but they're going to have a tough time to make the playoffs. The Phillies are too strong. Luzardo, Suarez, Sanchez, Wheeler. They're not even close to that. And there's a lot of teams fighting for the wild card National League. I don't like what I see, Keith. Your team will make it. They will not. That's my prediction.
Thanks for the call, Richie. And I mean, the Yankees can make it and be a first-round exit. The Mets don't make it, and then you know what their fans are going to say? Hey, that's our history. We don't go to the postseason back-to-back years. We were due for a dud. And I'm really not on that type of time to hate on the Mets right now. I'm just not. There's no trolling. There's no jokes to be made. They're in a bad spot. Their whole rotation is in shambles, and it was only so long that their rotation was going to be able to perform like that. And then all the money that you spent on hitters, they're not hitting. Lindor's been terrible. And because everybody loves Francisco Lindor and they love singing My Girl, and they've got to really know this guy, and he matured and he became the pseudo-captain last year and put the team on his back, it's hard for people to point the finger and say that the leadoff hitter does not give us enough. He hasn't been able to get it going, and maybe it goes back to him hurting his pinky toe against the Dodgers. Can't take him out of the lineup, though. Who's your shortstop? Who's your leadoff hitter? It's too important. And the generational Juan Soto, the conversation around Soto for the start of the season was, wait till Soto gets going. If the Mets are winning right now without Juan Soto being Juan Soto, you wait. Soto's going to carry this team. Soto is not the type to carry a team. He's got some solo shots, yeah. Still can't play right field. They have a team meeting, and Soto's sitting there in the team meeting, supposed to be a leader, highest paid player on the team. I don't know how his approach is, And I'm not hating. I'm just saying now, what say you? Now is the point in the season where Juan Soto's supposed to carry the team. Well, he can't drive in 11 runs, 8 runs. That'd be ridiculous. It's a bad spot, and there's not really one thing to put it on. Injuries have happened. The rotation has been bad, or the starting pitching doesn't get deep in games, and then the bullpen is tired. The bullpen is taxed. Guy like Brazoban, you might as well get Brazoban up out of here. The bullpen is shaky. The lineups, there's nothing good to report. There's nothing good to report. The Pittsburgh Pirates give you an all-time ass whooping, 30-4. They outscore you in the weekend. That's historic. And who saw that coming? Because last week, after the split against the Braves, all we talked about is, okay, they got a get-right series here on the road. All right, I talked about a couple weeks ago how, all those players out there, they're looking to get up out of there. McCutchen's probably done after this year. O'Neal Cruz hates his life as a Pirate. Key Brian Hayes has come back up on the Yankees trade radar, And Tommy Pham, another one. Those guys don't want to be out there. It sucks. But they turned it on when they saw the Mets. Friday was on, and we got a bunch of calls about, hey, there's just something about when the Mets go to Pittsburgh, something in the air out there. I don't know. But they got to figure something out fast. And you look to David Stearns, and the trade deadline is the only way to fix this. But you got to give to get. And how much can you fix? Clay Holmes has hit a wall. He's a starter for the first year. Paul Blackburn is what he is. Frankie Montas had a good first outing, but he's also what he is. Sean Manaea, don't rush him back if you're not too sure, right? Griffin Canning, terrible. A terrible injury. A guy that was, doing some good things this year on a one-year deal that was going to get paid. Now he's out. Kodai Senga, hurry back. You can't hurry Kodai Senga back because, a soft tissue injury like that, he takes his time coming back. He might be back, but then he might get hurt again. So there are a lot of issues. The biggest thing, though, is where you spent the money. You got a $30 million first baseman in the top of the order. At the top of the order, you have a $30 million shortstop. Batting cleanup, you have a $30 million first baseman. You have a $50 million right fielder who doesn't know how to read balls in right fielder, where to stand, consistently. Those guys got to hit. Those guys got to figure it out. Nimmo. And then, you're in your lineup, Mark Vientos comes back, and you're thinking you're going to get a pop from Mark Vientos. Nah. And the baby Mets, they're kids. Are they supposed to galvanize the room? So, okay. Let's get to the break here and keep it rolling with the Yankees calls. But like I said, I am going to transition into some of the Knicks stuff with free agency, with Jordan Clarkson, some of the Nets stuff, with the moves that they're making. And, I said we'll talk more about the Mets once we turn the calendar to July 1st and the Mets have a game. But I was trying to give it a break There's a lot coming down on the Mets right now. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Dial 888-808-1019. Don't go anywhere because we're coming right back.
BT and Sal argue like your group chat, but with
Okay, let's see if we can slide through this chat back to where we were. What up, Daryl? The approaches are never what the fans want. We want simple approaches. Boone is an idiot. It's all going to fall on Boone. Their approach at the plate, every single decision, whether it's who's coming out of the bullpen, have your hottest hitter bunt, not pinch hitting for DJ LeMahieu even existing. Bourbon Legend back out here. Yeah, I will get to Michael Porter Jr. and my thoughts. Won't be great again till September. We'll play better than we've been playing at times. That's what I was saying, bro. Nobody knows what's going to happen. You can't predict baseball, but July schedule is tough, and August is the dog days always. Kind of having a little bit of a budget, right? Kind of having we've spent enough type of attitude. We don't need to spend more than this to win type of attitude. And then also making moves that stay with you. Like Stanton drove in a run today. Good to see. But like, bro, we're paying that much for Giancarlo Stanton. Cool. As a DH, we're paying $15 million for our second baseman who's past his prime. Yo, what up, Demon D? Volpe is trash. Eat that ball. Hold on to the ball. Need a third baseman ASAP. Enough already. The Gold Glove isn't even what it used to be anymore, you know? I saw that. I'll probably talk to LeBron at some point. MPJ is Michael Porter Jr. And we're back. Regulators, mount up. And we're right back at it quickly on the Fan because I want to take this call right here before we get to the next break and update. Keith McPherson on the Fan if you didn't know that. Let's go to Gregory down in Atlanta. What are you thinking about, Greg?
show. I chime in whenever I can, but I got to get in on the Mets. I got to go in on them, even though I'm a Mets fan. I just want to let you know, sir, as a Mets fan, I'd love to have the problems that the Yankees have right now. Just want to get that out of the way real quick. And secondly, I got about 5 quick takes, and I want to get your take on it.
But are you sure you want our problems? You're supposed to have the richest owner in the sport and like the brightest baseball mind.
It's not a problem with the owner. The owner's not the issue. The thing that describes my Mets right now, which things that they don't have, is grit. You don't see it at the plate. This is a team that is right now currently on a diet. Their diet is what do you call that? White Castle, because I've never seen a team chase sliders as much in my life. It's disgusting. It's nauseating. That's another thing. Secondly, right now this team has one of the lowest percentage when it comes to runners on when runners in scoring position.
Right.
Right now, the White Sox are better than this team.
Still, I heard that stat last week, and I'm like, that can't be right. But I guess so, because they haven't done anything to change it.
Okay, I got 2 or 3 more takes. I know you got other callers. The other thing is, I'm tired of Nimmo. I'm tired of McNeil, launch angling. Ever since those guys got paid, they're trying to hit for power. That's not what got you to the majors. That's not what got you your contract in the first place. It's disgusting. Vientos, I think, still has potential, but with all-speed stuff, he just can't handle it. What is it about this team where they watch 2-1? You got 2-1, count for it, 2-1, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, and then watching stuff right down the pipe. Most teams don't do that. So you're telling me it's not the hitting coach? Something's going on here. Over analytics?
They're getting stuck.
What is it?
They're waiting on their pitch, and that pitch is not the pitch they get. They get frozen.
Waiting on the pitch? It's right down the middle.
Yeah, those are usually the ones that catch the guys. You got one more take?
Yeah, I got a quick one. The other thing, I knew when the team was in trouble when they went up against Tampa. Tampa outplayed them, out-hustled them. Even their coach was running circles around Mendoza. And the other thing real quick is, when will Mendoza utilize Sully Marte on hit and run? I haven't seen none of that going on. I haven't seen no bunting, nothing. He's a great player manager, tactician. I got a question. And thank you for taking my call. I know I had a lot to say.
No, thanks for the call. I didn't know where you were going with you'd rather trade, the Mets problems for the Yankees problems. We all have our problems. And the whole saying around that is if everybody threw their problems into a circle in the middle, everybody would want their own problems back. 888-808-1019. You go back to Freaky Friday the 13th in Citi Field. That is when the mojo ended as far as having the best home field advantage. That is when something changed in the ballpark. They got to get that back. And I think that they can. We'll talk about it. I think that they can as the clock will hit 12 midnight and we will turn the page to July and hope that the July 4th weekend and holiday is great. And then the All-Star game, the Futures game, the Home Run Derby, and all of that. And, the break is good and that these teams shake it off and find a way to get back to their winning ways as they add talent at the deadline at the end of this next month. Keith McPherson on the Fan, dial 888-808-1019. When we come back, I will talk a little bit about the Mets. We'll continue to take your calls on the Yankees. But I know these Knicks fans want to talk about Mike Brown and Jordan Clarkson, so we'll do that as well. You've got me till 2 a.m. KM to AM returns right after this.
Work, life, and imploding bullpens.
All right, let me try and get this chat current, bro. I'm just trying to bring us back to where we were 20 minutes ago. Let's see, 30 minutes ago. Great open. Keith couldn't agree more with the glass jaw comparison. They have zero ability for damage control, nor have they shown comeback effort. You just know. You just know once they give it up, oh, that's wraps. They're not going to come back. Does he deserve? Yeah, bro. First off, like Michael Porter Jr., one, he's a champion. Two, like he was like the Gatorade Player of the Year coming out of high school. He also went to Missouri, which like nobody, who's the best basketball player to come out of Missouri outside of him? He's like that, bro. He was the National High School Player of the Year, McDonald's All-American, Mr. Washington basketball. He's like that. He's going to be fun to watch in Brooklyn. I like the trade. We'll get to it. After last year, it's so depressing to see the left side of the infield be as much of a problem as it is. Meanwhile, we won't fix it because Yanks believe in playing their pick. Yeah, that is it. That is it. They have elected to play Jazz Chisholm at third base, a position that he didn't come up playing, a position that he's still learning, a position that we see him still struggle at, whether it's just fielding the ball. He's got the athleticism to get to the ball, but sometimes it's a struggle over there. It's not natural. He has the arm strength to throw across the diamond. But, like, he should be playing second base. Why is he not playing second base? Anybody in the chat have that answer? You know the answer. He's not playing second base because they owe $15 million to DJ LeMahieu and they love him. And so even though he's 36 going on 37 and he's nowhere near the player that he was 5 years ago, they will run him out there hoping that they get lucky. That in the ninth inning, like today, when they didn't pinch hit for him, that he comes through. Or that, like, the ball doesn't come his way. And they'll be able to live with Volpe and Jazz and their shenanigans on the left side. Hoping that they get somebody at the trade deadline. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't been paying too much attention to what the Devils are doing. It's too much. It's too much to go from like NBA draft to NHL draft, NBA free agency, NHL free agency, watching the Yankees, watching the Mets. They're making moves in the NFL. In 3 weeks, we're going to be knee deep in like inside training camp. They're going to it's going to be football before you know it. Correct.
Good morning at 12 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti, and this report is brought to you by policeofficersrighttosue.com. Another sloppy performance as the Yankees gave back a 2-run lead in the sixth, falling the Blue Jays 5-4. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. knocked in 3, including your go-ahead 2-run single during a 4-run sixth. Mark Leiter Jr., Jonathan Loaisiga didn't have it, trying to pick up Carlos Rodon, who gave up 2 runs and 5+. Jazz Chisholm went deep, but it was his decision to bunt in the 8th inning, pushing Aaron Judge to second as the tying run that left some scratching their heads. Yankees open Trent Grisham's okay. Left hamstring tightness, forced to exit in the 5th. MRI to come. Meanwhile, Fernando Cruz, high grain oblique strain. No timetable for his return. Knicks seem to be adding some veteran depth, reportedly expected to bring in former 6th man of the year Jordan Clarkson once he finishes his buyout with the Jazz. Also expected to interview Mike Brown for a second time about the head coaching position. And the Nets sent Cam Johnson to the Nuggets in exchange for Michael Porter Jr. and a first-round pick in 2032. 79 degrees, cloudy skies at Central Park. That's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
WFAN to talk about your favorite teams. The Fan, always live on the free Odyssey app.
Good morning, good morning. Let's get right to it. I'm not wasting any time, man. There's so many other things to talk about. So let's put a bow on the negative conversation. I mean, you guys can call up and be negative, but I'm not going to be negative Keithy, bad Keithy. It is July 1st. Hallelujah. It's the first of the month. Wake up, get up. Primero. Like, hope springs eternal. You can only hope that July is so much better for the Mets and Yankees, but don't look at the schedule. Like, if you look at the schedule is going to tell you. We've only just begun. And then August is the dog days. So, like, it might be a rough summer. But here we go. The Yankees have 3 against the Toronto Blue Jays. They need to take all 3. I highly doubt they will. The Mets have 3 against the Milwaukee Brew Crew, the Brewers, who are a game behind them in the standings. So vital, very important. Facing David Stern's former team, and then it's the Subway Series, and the Mets have block parties set up, and I think fireworks and all types of stuff going on. If you want to go out to Citi Field for the 4th for the Subway Series, Yankees, Mets, and yeah, there's a lot on the line because both teams need the feel-good feeling of beating the crosstown rival and their fans being able to say, hey, yeah, we've got the upper hand. And honestly, the Mets need to even the score, but the Yankees have an opportunity to run up the score. The Yankees sweep or take the series and, they win the season series and have bragging rights for a whole year, or maybe until we have that Subway Series Fall Classic that we love to talk about all the time as if it's just going to happen, like it's inevitable. 888-808-1019. For the Mets, what I said was just like, it's a ton of injuries. Something else, Dave Parker, rest in peace to Dave Parker, man, Hall of Famer, who passed away just the month before he could be enshrined in the Hall of Fame and get his real flowers. And I think there were heavy hearts in Pittsburgh honoring him. And maybe the players felt something with that too, and they turned it on. But ultimately, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates, bro. They're no good. And they know they're no good. Their fans know they're no good. And it isn't like they just came in and, crushed the Mets. I mean, outside of the homers that were hit in the 12-1 game, which I already said, it's kind of crazy. They have a team meeting. They call for a team meeting, and then that's the result. You get swept. You get broomed, right? I guess because it was I think they lost 12 out of 15 games. They're like, all right, we got to stop this. And you know what? A lot of talk around the Mets swirls around gimmicks. And one thing that wasn't a gimmick when all the gimmicks popped up last year was the Mets team meeting after Jorge Lopez threw his glove in the stands, and they started getting right. But the Friday the 13th curse, you hope that it ends. You hope that it ends. I saw some people writing on Twitter that the Mets will change their logo back to the regular colors today. Now, nobody get offended. Nobody take it personal. Why did the Mets change their colors for the month of June? It was Pride Month. So they had the rainbow-colored Mets logo. And last year, the June Mets were sensational. But there was a lot of conversation about what they did in June, celebrating Pride Night, that people want to point to and say, hey, they took this a step too far, putting up the LGBTQ flag during the national anthem. And since then, I think they had only won 3 games. Well, put that behind you now. June is over. The June swoon is over. It's July, and you've got this stretch of games, 2 series at home against good teams, 2 series at home against teams that you need to beat to right the ship. It's not going to be easy because the pitching right now is in shambles. 888-808-1019. Mets fans, chime in on how you feel after having a night off from watching the Mets. You step into this series against the Brewers, where the Brewers are 47-37. The Mets are 48-37. So when you look at the wild card standings, it's the Mets and the Brewers. This is a little bit of a battle jockeying for position there. And now the Philadelphia Phillies have reached 50 wins. Zach Wheeler balled out tonight. Bryce Harper is back. And so the Phillies are trying to gain some room in the NL East and hold down first. So the Mets can't afford to fall back any further. And help isn't necessarily on the way right now. That's the thing about the trade deadline, too. You're going to keep hearing people say that the trade deadline should be pushed back. The trade deadline should be in August, mid to late August. Well, it's not. It's not. So there's going to be a lot of fringe teams that feel like they're still in it. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 4.5 games back from a wild card spot. Are they going to just send Eugenio Suarez or Zach Gallen or Merrill Kelly or whoever else packing if they feel like they can make a push and potentially get to where they got to go? I don't know. The answers have to come from within. The players that you pay the big money to have to figure it out. The manager has to figure it out. There is no help on the way. If you want to bring up these young kids to pitch, so be it. But, after losing 12 out of 15 games and 5 straight series without a win, obviously getting the 1 split against the Braves, this is a rock bottom feeling in the season. But it's such a long season. It's not over. But what it is it's extremely deflating for the Met fan because you were riding high. I don't know how many times I said that they picked up where they left off last year with the NLCS. They had Juan Soto, they had a couple other pieces, and it's like, okay, this Mets team is one of the top teams in baseball. This Mets team is for real. And now they've come back down to earth where it's like, hey, which one is more real? The let it happen Mets or the make it happen Mets? Losers let it happen, winners make it happen. And you're going to have to lean on your guys. You're going to have to lean on your big money guys to get out of their slump, to figure it out. If you want to change the lineup, change the lineup. There's a lot of ideas coming out about changing the lineup. I don't feel like that is it. I don't think you want to create more outs in between your good hitters. I feel like your good hitters have to just be good hitters, and maybe some home cooking, being home, having a day off is much needed as you go into this series and you open up play in July in Citi Field. And I don't know what to tell you guys. It sucks. Like, all we can do is hope. Hope week continues. You can hope that the Yankees somehow bounce back. And I think they will because they have Max Fried on the mound. And I think they will because they'll feel some type of way about how they lost this game. You just heard in the update, it was Jazz Chisholm's decision to bunt. And Boone said he was fine with it. I'm not fine with it. You're the hottest hitter right now. You've been clutch right now. You're the one hitting home runs, extra base hits, doing it right now. They walk Judge to face you. Take that personal, It's all in hindsight, though. That game was lost in the 6th inning when Rodon came out, and then they had an opportunity to come back in the 8th and couldn't get it done. Let's go to John in Tampa on the Fan next. What's up, John?
Keith, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. All right. I've had about enough. It's getting very hard for me to watch baseball. I had a really good baseball education. I was blessed with talent, played college baseball. And this is a systemic issue. What happened in the 6th inning is like a microcosm of what's going on in Major League Baseball. First, the blocking. Okay. Last spring training, I was at a corporate event at Steinbrenner Field, and we had a Q&A with Jose Trevino. And I asked him about why do you guys do one-knee catching now, and even with runners on base. And he gave me a weird look, and he basically told me that the numbers show that it's more effective, obviously, with the framing and getting strike calls and stuff like that. So basically, they're willing to give up bases now in favor of maybe stealing a strike or getting the borderline strike call. And that's insane. That is completely insane. That play tonight, the Escara, the one he blocked,
yeah,
but he didn't block it into the middle of the field, and the runner was able to take second base. Go back 5 years. That ball is blocked 100% of the time by every catcher in Major League, and the runner will not advance. Okay, these guys cannot laterally move. I caught. Okay, you cannot laterally move well enough on one knee. It can't happen. I have no problem with nobody on base, but when you have base runners, okay, especially with if there's a guy on first and he's a slug, all right, yeah, you could one knee me. I'm fine with that too. But other than that, you got to be in a position to block. Okay.
Yeah, and it seemed like Boone talked to him, and I don't know. It's J.C. Escara. Let's go back to Brian Cashman. Like, this guy was out of baseball. They refer to him as an Uber driver. No problem with that. Substitute teacher. Like, Wells is hurt right now. He was not available. They have to play Ben Rice, going up. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
These things kind of just, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just him; it's the whole league. Just this one knee catching is nonsense. And just one thing before you let me go, when I was on hold, I heard when you mentioned about Dave Parker passing away, and listen, I'm 53. I started watching baseball heavy around I remember '76, and that's when Dave Parker was hitting his stride, and I grew up with him, and he was one of the most amazing players I've ever seen. Okay, I wish we could have saw him. He was incredible. Okay, they could hit for average, hit for power. He had an absolute cannon from the outfield. He was so fun to watch. And I'm sad that he passed before he was able to get his induction because he deserved it a long time ago. He was one of the best players in the league for many years in that era, and he should have been in a long time ago.
Thanks for the call, John. Yeah, agreed. 888-808-1019, and maybe the ghost of Dave Parker was there in P-Town. And like I said, those players played up when I don't think many people were expecting them to sweep the Mets, let alone outscore them 30-4. Another thing with the catching behind the home plate and the pitch framing, like, aren't we a year away from the automatic balls and strikes? Like ABS system, hashtag ABS ASAP. So then when we have that, then all of this stealing strikes and framing and trying to fool the umpire, they're just going to change that? I don't know. Or change their approach on trying to do that. It's always the little things. The little things in a game add up. It's always those little things. And it's like the Yankees should know better. The Yankees should be putting an emphasis on these little things and the fundamentals, but they always find a way to get got. They always find a way that these things kind of come back and bite them. I don't know, man. I don't have the answers. This was a terrible month for the Mets, terrible month for the Yankees, but it's July now. So optimism. Just hoping that they turn it on, hoping that the calendar changes, and like I said, that they play a little bit better. With it being July now, though, we're in the NBA summer. And with the NBA summer, like the Knicks still don't have a head coach. And so I vividly remember Tom Thibodeau talking about the NBA summer and the calendar as far as like, yeah, it's a big off season for us. We gotta meet and have their exit meetings, and then we gotta do the draft. Now we're in free agency, and you are bringing in players and signing players without a coach. It is confirmed that Jordan Clarkson intends to sign with the Knicks, which I think is a great player for them to add that can hoop, can score. Shout out to Jordan Clarkson. I get to flex a little bit. I'm sure somebody on Reddit's like, I hate when this guy tells stories like this. I was actually in Delilah, which is Drake's club in LA during the All-Star game in 2023 when I talk about seeing Volpe and Francisco Alvarez. And Jordan Clarkson comes in, and he's with Kyler Murray. For some reason, somebody thought Kyler Murray was Kanye. He had like a hood up. And I didn't see Kyler Murray because he's so small, that little bugger. I didn't see him. But I was able to see Jordan Clarkson because he's 6'9". He's an NBA player. He was in the club bopping. He'll definitely love the clubs in New York. I'm sure he's already frequented a lot of them. I think that's a good player for them to sign. But who's the coach? Everyone got a little bit of a chuckle out of Dawn Staley being asked for an interview. And I don't know, like the Knicks reaching out to Dawn Staley. I know she has some ties to Rick Brunson. And I don't know if it's for a laugh. I don't know if it's to throw people off their scent, but I don't think it's really legitimate. It almost kind of felt like a Rooney Rule type of thing. Like, oh, yeah, we're going through all these candidates. Why don't we put out there that we're, interested in a woman candidate? But she's not coming into, are you kidding? She's not coming into this situation to be the first woman head coach in the NBA under these terms. This is high stakes now. And so high of stakes, Taylor Jenkins, who was floating out there unemployed, most of the reports are saying Taylor Jenkins will not be the guy. Taylor Jenkins will not coach your New York Knicks. But just last week, people were saying, hey, why not? But now there's a rumor that Mike Brown has emerged as the front runner. So how do you feel about that, Knicks fans? Jordan Clarkson coming to this team and Mike Brown being the coach of this team after you got rid of Tom Thibodeau. 888-808-1019. Limo driver Ed in New Jersey on the fan. What's up, Eddie? Oh, got him. I thought you were just taking a deep breath, like a sigh, like, like a Mike Brown,
Like a Darth Vader, like.
Yeah, that's for Luke Weaver.
Fair enough.
My wife asked me, "She's like, why are they doing that?" I'm like, it's for Luke Weaver, Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, Luke, I am your father. We already do the the whale sound, which I think is another Star Wars sound. It's a few things that they do. The Yankees are obsessed with sounds in the stadium this year.
Oh yeah. I was at that May the 4th game. I don't know how many times they played that noise. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, I didn't go to the May the 4th game. I can only imagine they had all of the Star Wars stuff rolled out then. But I'm talking about how they just be like playing 10, not even 4 to 5 seconds of a song in between pitches. It's never going away. It is what it is. It's part of this new age of like, hey, we got to keep these people locked in.
Yeah, I guess it's a way to like get people to like.
You're a Gen Zer?
Yeah, I was born in 99, so yeah.
You hate watching a baseball game? You need your phone? You need to dance in between? You need to...
No, I don't need to. I can pay attention to watch a game. So I know other people that can't, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't go to too many baseball games. When I do, like when I'm watching, like I usually do pretty much pay attention the entire time like I am.
I would hope so.
I mean, obviously, working here, yeah, it'd be a little strange if I
on WFA and work at WFA.
It'd be a little odd if I'm like, yeah, I hate going to baseball games. Like, well, it's a little awkward because you work at a sports radio station.
Jack has stepped in for Paulie. Paul is out. Jack is in, taking us the rest of the way. Speaking of Jack, my son Jackson, I pulled his ban. He was banned from Yankee Stadium after the second game of the season. I brought him to that Saturday game against Milwaukee. The temperature got up to the 80s. It was one of those things where it's like, yo, we got to go to this game. We don't know when we're going to get another 80-degree, Yankee game in March. And so I bring him to the game, and we get there early enough. As soon as we're in line, as soon as they open the gates and let us in. And he does fine with the line. And I bring him to the kids' clubhouse, and he's up there. He does fine up there for like 15, 20 minutes. But as far as like once the game started, this is the first game I had my 2-year-old son in the seats. He can't stay in the seats for long. He disturbs everybody else. He's putting his feet up on the seat. He's putting his feet on the lady's back in front of us. He's like, every cup in the cup holder that he can get to, he wants to get to. He wants to put his hand in the cup. He wants to drink the cup. He's got his own like baby cup that's sealed so it doesn't leak. He doesn't want that. I'm like, I can't watch the game. And that was a good game to watch Sunday too. I had to leave in the bottom of the third inning. And I'm like, yo, this is the second time I bring my son to a game where the Yankees are scoring double-digit runs and hitting home runs. I didn't see either one of Judge's homers. I saw Jazz's homer, and I saw Jazz's triple. But then, it's hot out there. He's getting cranky. He didn't really sleep. He had a little bit of a car nap, but not an actual nap. And I'm just like, you kind of cut your losses. And I'm like, all right, let's be out. And I hate leaving games early, especially I started having to leave games early, never left the game early until I started working at WFAN, where it's like, yo, you gotta host the show after the Yankee post game. You got to get going. But on Sunday, I wasn't on. We got to leave, and we got to leave just to get my son in the air condition, get him to relax. And so we dip off, and as soon as we get in the car, homers, runs being scored. I think it was 4-0 when we left, and so we slid back to Jersey. And I hit Hiram's Hot Dogs. Shout out to Manny and the guys at Hiram's Hot Dogs. I knew they would have the game on in there because they're big Yankee fans in there. And they had the game on the screen and then belly homers. I'm just sitting there looking at my son who keeps knocking the food off the table and going through his terrible 2 tantrums. Like, how did I get here? How did I end up in daddy daycare all the time and not at the game as they're hitting home runs and as Marcus Stroman actually goes out there and does pretty well. And Yep. But now I know, right? When the Yankees are in a slump, when the Yankees aren't hitting, I got to bring my son to the game. I got to bring my son to the game and babysit my 2-year-old for the first 3 innings at least, and the Yankees will hit home runs and they'll score, and we'll break out of it. 888-808-1019. Still taking your calls on the Yankees and Mets, but I did just introduce the Knicks into the conversation. Trying to get a pulse of the Knicks fan, how you feel about Mike Brown being your next head coach. As I say that, Stephen Bondy just put out the New York Post back page, and it says, they like Mike. Knicks bringing in vet coach Brown for second interview. And then a little small blurb. It says Clarkson to land in the Garden. So the Knicks are doing some things. I don't know if they're doing exactly what their fans want them to do. I know the Mets and the Yankees aren't doing what their fans want them to do. Let's go to Rich in Pompton Plains on the fan next. What's up, Rich?
Hey, Keith. It's good to talk to you. I was out in Pittsburgh over the weekend. This plan was tripped for a while. We have all my friends are Met fans. I'm a Yankee fan. I didn't even know what the Yankees were doing. I kept checking my phone and I saw that we lost that one night. I was like, oh, you're killing me here. But we were actually at the Saturday game, and I'll tell you, the Pittsburgh fans, every time Soto got up the bat, this one guy, the next aisle over, like every time Soto got up, is overrated. Yeah. It was just like, oh my God. And I'll tell you, it was awful. I mean, he struck out like every time at bat. It was ridiculous. And he ended the game. He was the final. He struck out the final out. It was like, oh my God. So I didn't even have to worry about any kind of thing with being a Yankee fan. But
did you wear Yankees gear there? You wore Yankee stuff?
No, I actually wore a Pittsburgh hat because my wife bought us Pittsburgh. She bought us Pittsburgh gear when my daughter first moved out there. Going to Carnegie Mellon, and it is entertaining. It's enjoyable to watch. With they fire the cannons.
That's one of the best ballparks in baseball. Was that your first time going out there?
At that, to go into the ballpark, I went to the Steelers game back in October with a bunch of Giant fans. So it's like every time we go out, I went out to watch the Giants lose. But again, beautiful stadium. And I'll tell you, the fans are great out there. The people in general, it just really is. It's nothing like Philly. I mean, I wouldn't even think about going to a game in Philly, but it was great. I just wanted to share that. It was like, I felt bad because our one friend who was a diehard Met fan, and she actually got us the tickets, and I just felt bad. But hey, what are you going to do? I didn't expect them to sweep. That was like every night. It's like, okay, well, they'll make up for it tonight, and every night it was a worse loss. It was like, especially yesterday's game or Sunday's game was ridiculous. It was like, oh my God. So, but anyway, I just wanted to throw that out and share that with you.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Rich. 888-808-1019. Maybe anybody from the 7 line listening will chime in. The 7 line was out there. They were well represented, but that's a terrible weekend to go. And I mean, who knew that the Pirates would sweep the Mets? But like their culture out there, I always talk about, it's great. I've been to Philly. I've been to Pittsburgh. I would rather go to Pittsburgh. I wish it was closer. I'd rather go to Pittsburgh 10 times out of 10 than going to Citizens Bank Park in Philly. Those Yinzers got y'all this weekend, though. You stepped into the land of the Primanti bros, and they turned up with their, Chicky and Pete's or whatever the place is out there that they get those seasoned fries. Yeah, I heard the chants of the overrated. It got to Juan Soto. What do you have, 3 strikeouts in that game Saturday? 2 strikeouts in the 12-1 loss. I mean, he did pay him off. Shout out to J Mac Customs. I think Friday I used one of his tweets on my show because he was out there and he said, Soto, when he hit that first solo shot, that was almost like an answer. It felt like an answer to the fan that was chanting overrated. But I mean, that's what they do out there. They're good baseball fans. They just don't have a good owner. They don't have a good product out there. They've been starved for years. They showed up a few years back when they did go to the playoffs, but yeah, it doesn't matter when the Mets come to town, when the Yankees come to town, they kind of perk up a bit. They know, neighbors, from the north, from New York, from Jersey, are going to make the trip, and they're ready for it. They're ready to host it, and sometimes the team is ready to play. The Yankees lost 1 game out there. I think that was an extra inning game where Devin Williams was on the mound. But yeah, the Mets kind of just walked into one with not having their pitching. Frankie Montas in the Sunday game, 4 innings, 7 hits, six runs. With the rain delay, like Paul Blackburn going out there with the rain delay, and it was a perfect storm of a disaster. And misery loves company, and the Mets and the Yankees are right there together with each other. Let's take another Yankee call before we get back to the Met calls. John in Manhattan, you're on the Fan.
Hey, good morning, Keith.
Good morning.
Just want your opinion on relief pitching for the Yankees. Maybe a couple teams that might be sellers. I'm thinking maybe somebody like Gregory Soto, maybe from the Orioles. Contract expiring after this year. Mark Leiter kind of stunk it up tonight, I think. Maybe bring back Chapman. Still throwing like 103. I don't know what
I don't know. I just don't think the Orioles or the Boston Red Sox are inclined to do deals with us to try and make us better. And if so, they're going to try and fleece Cashman. And Cashman doesn't get fleeced, he won't do it. He won't. He's certainly not giving up his top prospects this year.
Can you think of anybody else anywhere else? Diamondbacks, maybe something like that.
Names that have floated out there. I mean, I'm thinking straight up like pitching. I don't think they're going to give up what they got to give up, or the Diamondbacks are going to give up Eugenio Suarez. David Bednar's name from the Pirates, as we're talking about the Pirates, his name has popped up. I got to go back to my notes. I had a whole like Instagram post where they were throwing out relief pitchers to look at the trade deadline. And I expect Cashman to add a high leverage reliever to the back of that bullpen to be the setup guy, maybe be a 7th inning guy, especially like now with Cruz going down. There's more urgency there. With Jake Cousins not coming back, there's more urgency there. But I don't have the names. I'll work on that. I'll go back to my notes during this break. Thanks for the call, John. I'll go back to my notes during this break and pull up, some of the names that, people have been cooking up. There are people that they just make internet content. They just make posts on Instagram where they're like, here's 5 relief pitchers that the Yankees should target. So I'll dig that up because I know I had that in my notes. We'll also get back to the Mets conversation. Like I said, it's a new day, folks. It is July 1st. You can hope for better things in the month of July and that these teams get right. And maybe the Mets sweep the Brewers and take the next 3, and the Yankees take the next 3 and beat the Blue Jays. And then they have a little more juice as they'll face off in Citi Field for July 4th weekend. 888-808-1019. I'd love to hear from somebody that's a Met fan that did make the trip. I did see some tweets about how terrible that ride was back. I couldn't imagine. Like 12-1, you get smacked, you get swept, and then you got to do that ride back, especially if you're like hungover and just like didn't sleep well. Like that's a long ride back from Pittsburgh to NYC. So we'll talk about that. We'll also get more into NBA free agency. We'll talk around the Knicks, but when we come back, I think I'll lead with the Brooklyn Nets and what they're doing and what they have done that I think is a lot better than what they did in the draft. Keith McPherson on the Fan. It's 12:30. We got to break it down. I've got 90 minutes left. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back.
WFAN, talking New York sports for
Sucks to suck. All right, we're back. I think I was in the chat like right before 12. Christina said Volpe won a Gold Glove because Wander Franco is a bad man. Was Wander Franco in line to win the Gold Glove that year and they didn't give it to him because of the scandal? Correct. He's in a bad one, bro. Seems like it's like the pressure is getting to him and it's all mounting and it affects both sides of the ball. Jordan Clarkson, a Nick. Positive energy. Positive energy on July 1st. I think so. On the drunk nights, you ordered Chanelo's pizza. I lived in the Bluestones on campus where there was a Buffalo Wild Wings right across the street. And I went to school so long ago where Buffalo Wild Wings used to do 50-cent wing nights. They don't do that anymore. What I used to eat, man. I used to just be in the dining hall. I was a football player, so we had what used to be called the punch system. So stupid now. Like you had your meal plan money, but you also could get like 2 punches a day. It's stupid. Like 2 extra like snack type meals. I don't remember. Can we at least get Dominguez to lead off now? Yeah, might have to. One next year. And I don't even think it's like with Volpe, I don't think it's a matter of like a lack of accountability because he knows he can't be benched. I just think he thinks it's all right. I don't know. Word. Daddy daycare at the game is whack, bro. It is not fun. Can't blame Soto alone, but he's part of it. He ain't helping. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Who won the trade? That's where I'm about to go now, bro. That's where I'm about to go now, bro. All right. What else? Let me see if there's any breaking news coming out of the NBA. I can't think of anything clever or catchy to say here with the single ladies one. I just always say, like, why is this even in the rotation? Like, yo, why are we coming back from break to all the single ladies? Shout out to any ladies, single, married, complicated, that might be listening at 12:37 a.m. to the Fan in New York. Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on the Fan, talking sports. It's not fun to lose. I'm a terrible loser. I'm a sore loser. Show me a good loser, I'll show you a loser. And I had such high hopes for these teams that I think when you have those high hopes, you don't expect them to be this bad. And what I hate is when baseball fans or reporters or people try to tell you, oh, well, if you went and looked at this team from 19 whenever, or this team from this happened to them too. It's like, okay, that has nothing to do with this. It's a completely different time, different league, different rules, different players. And we're talking about these guys. We're trying to figure it out with these Mets. We're trying to figure it out with these Yankees. We're trying to figure like why these guys have everything right in front of them and they can't figure it out. They got everything. They've got all these resources. They're rich players. They can't figure it out. It's frustrating. I think it changes for the Mets, and I think it changes for the Yankees this month. That's all I can think. All I can think is positive energy, positive vibes that something's got to give, help is on the way, and that this all-star break coming up will be a much-needed all-star break, and you just put June behind you. Let's go to Phil in Sheepshead Bay.
Hey, Keith. Good evening. Keith, they're coming up against the Brewers with Peralta, Mizorowski, whatever that guy's name is. And look, Clay Holmes and Peterson I can deal with. But once you go to Paul Blackburn and Montas and was it Tidwell, that's just not pitching. That's like minor league.
It's what you got.
What's happened? Yeah.
Unless they want to call up a young guy.
Well, maybe they'll have to do that. Maybe Stearns has to get up off the throne and start to move his, and make some moves. Because over the next, I'd say, 10, 12 days, if it continues this way, it might be too late to make moves. I'll leave you with that. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Phil. It takes two to tango. You can't just make a trade with the trade simulator, with the trade machine. Like, there has to be another team that's like, yeah, you need a starting pitcher. Here you go. Starting pitchers are valuable commodities, good ones. Like, you traded for Paul Blackburn last year. Like, how much has he been able to help? I just don't think that it's that simple as like today Stearns being like, oh, we've made a trade to bring in a starter. Like, how? How? And yeah, you're right on. I mean, it's not the positive way to spin things. It's not the best way to look at things. But when you look at pitching matchups, as most of us do in baseball, you give an edge or an advantage to the team with the better starting pitcher. So looking at this matchup coming up here, you've got Freddie Peralta on the mound. Yankees saw him opening day. It's Freddie Peralta versus Clay Holmes. I would lean at advantage Freddie Peralta. Let's see what Freddie Peralta has done as of late. In his last few outings here, how solid has he been? The Yankees were able to get to him opening day, but that was early. Yeah, so let's see. June 24th against Pittsburgh. 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 1 homer. He's not untouchable. June 29th against the Cubs. Gives up 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 homers. Goes 5 innings. So it's like he hasn't gone deep into games these last 2 outings. Maybe if you can get to him by the 5th inning. I mean, if you go back, though, to see what he did against San Diego. Against San Diego earlier in the month, June 8th, he goes 6 innings, gives up 1 hit, gives up nada. And he is coming off a high strikeout performance against Pittsburgh. He had 8 strikeouts in his last outing. So the Mets have a lot of guys that are striking out. Not great. And then the next game, so, today's game is Peralta versus Clay Holmes. And Clay Holmes has hit a wall where Clay Holmes is walking guys, and you got to be careful with his pitch count. And then you're going right into the bullpen, but everybody's rested, so you should have your best to try and take that first game. And it would be wise of you to take that first game because here comes Jacob Mizorowski. This is a long-bodied string bean. Gumby-looking character, 6'7", 197, age 23, coming out throwing straight gas. Ched, this guy is coming out a flamethrower. They just had him versus Paul Skeens. I said baseball, like, how do you not have that be a marquee game, a night game? Get that, do something to get people to be able to watch that. But this guy hasn't given up a damn thing. In 3 games, he's given up 3 hits. Because you can't see the ball. You can't touch this dude. Right now, he's got 16 innings pitched, 19 strikeouts. His ERA is a 1.13, a 0.63 whip. Good luck, yo. Like, and you're going to throw Blade the Daywalker Tidwell against Jacob Mizorowski. So I guess, 2 young guys facing off, age 23 and age 24. That's like, I don't know. It's not, who knows, man. Maybe they get the best of him, right? Maybe on that night, looking at the schedule, that game is sold out because it's Puerto Rico themed Francisco Lindor jersey night. So maybe the place is rocking for that. And then you've got Soto replica jersey night on Thursday. And let's look at the pitching matchup there. Thursday, it'll be, as I go back to, now I got all these tabs looking at Freddie Peralta, looking at Jacob Mizorowski. Thursday, it will be, I like that matchup. Jose Quintana, our old pal, versus David Peterson, who needs to get right. Absolutely needs a get right day. Juan Soto replica jersey day. All those Mets fans are coming in there to get a free Juan Soto jersey. Jose Quintana, be a pal. Give it up. Absolutely got to just fold and lay down. But, he might be looking for revenge. If I'm Jose Quintana, I'm looking for revenge. I'm feeling some type of way. Especially because the Mets rotation is in shambles and he's like, hey, I was waiting to sign with you. Hey, I'm 6-2 with a 3.30 ERA. I could have helped you out. I have the same ERA as David Peterson, who's 5-4 with a 3.30 ERA. You didn't want me? You didn't want me? I'm going to make you pay. We'll see what happens. Bobby's in Belmore on the Fan next. What's up, Bobby?
Well, Wednesday you said Puerto Rican jersey was indoors. You got a ticket for $8. I'm looking on the seat, so
it's claimed it's sold out on the Mets website, but it's never sold out. You can always on the resale market go and find your way in there.
Now, it's amazing you mentioned Tidwell, 10 ERA. The guy from the minors that could be a better, option than that. I don't understand why they just want to throw.
I don't know what it is that they like about him. I was looking at his numbers and I was hearing some Mets fans talk about like there are better younger arms down there. Why him? I don't know.
And with Lindor, he hasn't been the same. I know it's only a pinky toe, but he hasn't been the same player. I mean, he's been horrible. So so I don't know if that injury's affected him or what. But I want to get to the Knicks.
You know what? It's funny because I mention it because this isn't Lindor. I mention it because he looks so bad that we can't figure out anything else where we say but he's out there playing defense. He's running on it.
So maybe it's affected his swing. I don't know.
Bad in his last 15 games, he's batting 167 with 13 strikeouts, 10 hits.
I know. Now, let me get to the Knicks quickly. I know. Mike Brown, I mean, you expect the Knicks to improve defensively under this guy? I mean, he's
winner. Mike Brown. It's funny if he actually becomes the guy.
He's gone to the finals. He had 20 LeBron, but he just couldn't beat Orlando in the year where they were favorites. So I don't understand. In a way, I mean, this is nuts. But why don't you Dolan? I know it's Dolan can because he's not going to leave $30 million on the table. I don't think Rosen would have fired Tibbs. This was a Dolan move. And why can't he just swallow his pride and bring Tibbs back? I mean, I understand. I know that's probably impossible. It's a miracle that will happen. But I mean, if you can have Mike Brown as your option, I mean, wouldn't you want to just call Tibbs and maybe have him go swallow your pride?
Oh, nah, we're way too far gone for that, Bobby. Thanks for the call. 888-808-1019. Yeah. Me? I wouldn't have too much pride to say, hey, Tommy, things on the way out went a little bit south. We may have overreacted. look, we did not know that the Pacers were going to even have a series with the Thunder where in Game 7, Tyrese Halliburton pops his Achilles. He's out for the next year. We don't look at the Pacers as a threat. And, I mean, you were on the court when Tatum popped his Achilles. The Celtics have sold off Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis. Like, they're not going to be a threat at all. We're bringing in Jordan Clarkson. There's some rumors about Russell Westbrook. Like, not only are we going to add depth to this team, we're going to add veteran depth, some household names to this team. We're pushing all our chips in, and you know what? We made a mistake. You have led this group. You have been the architect and leader that brought us back to relevance, and you know what? Even though we disagreed with some things about you, Tibbs, we feel like you're the guy that's best suited to lead this group, especially with this clear path that has emerged. Actually, if you'll let bygones be bygones, just come on back. We'll forget this whole thing. They can't do that now. That sucks. So, Mike Brown was fired because of all of the hype and expectations of Like the Beam and the Sacramento Kings. Remember how annoying they were? They thought that Kings team all of a sudden was going to win something. That's what happens when you don't ever win. They had such a drought that, they ended the drought that year and got to the playoffs, and they expected the team next year to come out and be world beaters. They started off 13-18, and they're like, you're done. You're fired. You're out of here. And there's videos floating around from how he coached those young players and how his practices were. He's an old school guy. I did see some stuff out there about, him coaching LeBron and that Cavs team. And how was this the guy to lead you to the promised land if he couldn't do it then? I think Frank Isola was reporting on it as well. And I don't know. It's such a gamble. It's such a risk to potentially default into Mike Brown being your head coach when you had a guy. You had the guy. You had the guy that brought you back the last few years, and I don't know, your eyes got too big and you want more, and sometimes more isn't stay the course. That's all I was saying. Stay the course. I was sure that they would. But what do I know? I don't know. I watch like you guys do. And to me, it seemed like, hey, the Knicks, the writing is on the wall. As I've said at least 100 times, the Heat went to the Eastern Conference Finals, lost. The next year they go on to the finals. The Celtics went to the Eastern Conference Finals, lost. The next year they go on to the finals. Most recently, the Pacers go to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, lose. The next year they end up in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks are destined to follow that mold, to follow that script. But what could throw them off? Not having the right leader of the ship. Tom Thibodeau would have figured it out at least. I want to say, if they give him a better bet, is he going to look at Jordan Clarkson and be like, nah, you're not good enough to play? A guy that he's seen play in this league forever? No. So Frank Isola writes, Jason Kidd was the number one target. And until the Knicks name a coach, you can't entirely rule him out. But Mike Brown is emerging as the front runner. Mike Brown is getting a second interview. But why not a first for Michael Malone, Mark Jackson, Johnny Bryant, or Rick Brunson? Because those guys aren't it. Johnny Bryant's name was it immediately. And then I think they realized how high the stakes were, where you can't put a first-timer in this role. Rick Brunson is not going to get it, and, he shouldn't get it. His son is, come on. I know we respect to Rick Brunson and his child, and, shout out to my mom. Speaking of child, my mom's listening to the show, correcting me that you don't babysit your own kid. I'm like, listen, I was babysitting my own kid at Yankee Stadium. I don't babysit my son in the house, but I damn sure felt like a babysitter at Yankee Stadium. I didn't feel like a Yankee fan watching the game. Shout out to Rick Brunson and Jalen Brunson. He shouldn't be that coach. He's done enough. He's done enough getting his son here and being the bench coach or whatever. Mike Malone, I guess they never saw the Queens guy as an option. Mark Jackson, that ship has sailed. So long ago. Mike Brown hanging around. They might literally default into Mike Brown being the guy, and no one can say he doesn't have the experience. No one can say that he's not a suitable head coach for the job. But I'll say this, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to say this. Maybe someone else said this earlier on the fan. If it's Mike Brown, did you fire Tom Thibodeau with the intention of pivoting to Mike Brown? No. No, you can't tell me that was the plan. And so you can't tell any of us that you had a plan. You made it up as you went along here. It was basically anyone but Tom Thibodeau. We had enough of you. We had enough of your voice. We had enough of seeing your face. That'll be all. And that reeks of the owner being the one to do that, because Leon Rose, what we know of his friendship and what we know of them paying him last year, why would you pay a guy and then he gets you out of the second round? Ding, ding, ding. That's progress. You upset the defending champs that no one except for Positive Tommy had picked you to beat. Ding, ding, ding. Like you basically like David versus Goliath, the NBA, and have an all-time series win. And then you lose to the Pacers back-to-back years. Yeah, but the Pacers go and do what they did to you to the Thunder. They take that first game. They force a game 7 with the Thunder. So maybe they were better than you were giving them credit for. Maybe you should have given more credit to Tom Thibodeau. 888-808-1019. Get the Knicks fans in here in the chat. And while we do that, I'm going to go and talk to some of the Brooklyn Nets fans that are listening. I got Knicks fans in the chat. Eli in the chat says, how you feel about Michael Porter Jr. coming to Brooklyn? Good. It's not so much about Michael Porter Jr. for me. It's more about, trade Cam Johnson. So let's go back. Cam Johnson came over here with Mikal Bridges from Phoenix. They came over as the Twins, quote unquote, called the Twins. They were a package deal, right? These guys were inseparable. I remember the first night seeing them on the broadcast, like Mikal Bridges looked like he was itching to play. His Iron Man streak was on the line. Like, bro, you just got here. Like, you just landed. You can't play. And, I think there was some excitement about these guys because they played on the Suns team that went to the finals. They were all young, or they both were younger a couple years ago. But you were able to trade Bridges. Great return. And you were able to get a first-round pick for Cam Johnson. And I don't care that it's in 2032. So be it. It might take the Nets that long to rebuild. But Michael Porter Jr. is a champion. I just was in the chat talking about, like, someone was like, what's MPJ? And I'm like, Michael Porter Jr. And they're like, does he deserve a letter nickname? Yeah. Like, he was really like that. Coming out of school, he was Mr. Basketball in the state of Washington. He was a Gatorade player of the year. He's like all time, might be the best player to come out of Missouri. And I don't know. I think he's going to bring excitement. He's an NBA hooper. He's an NBA caliber player. Now, don't go listen to what he says on podcasts. He's got some takes and some things that he said on podcasts that are resurfacing that aren't so great. But I think for this Nets team, he's coming to a team that just drafted a bunch of passers, playmakers. He's a guy that can make plays. He's a shooter. He's going to shoot. He's shooting everything. If Cam Thomas isn't shooting it, he's shooting everything. So I like it. He's younger than Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson is a shooter. You replace a shooter with a shooter. He's 2 years younger than him. Obviously, the Nuggets, he's run his course there with them. My only concern with Michael Porter Jr. is injuries. Where, like, if you're relying on him and he's hurt, and same thing with Cam Thomas. Like, Cam Thomas missed a bunch of times this year, but I really felt Cam Thomas meant, like, he missed time this year because there was nothing worth rushing him back to play for. I'm interested to see what they look like with Michael Porter Jr., with Cam Thomas. Also with Day'Ron Sharpe. Day'Ron Sharpe, come on down. When I think about Day'Ron Sharpe, I always think about how Roy Williams, former head coach at UNC when he was there, talks about, like, he said he expects this guy to be a Hall of Famer. Like, that's how high he was on Day'Ron. And Day'Ron has progressed and he's gotten better. And what they're paying him now is a steal of a deal. So Shams reported earlier today that free agent big man Day'Ron Sharpe intends to sign a 2-year, $12 million deal to return to the Brooklyn Nets. That's good. That's good. Keep your homegrown talent. Keep the guys that you drafted and developed, and guys that were here through this whole KD, Kyrie saga, Harden saga, Ben Simmons saga, and saw all that nonsense go on, and they made it through that. It grew them up some. And they still have pride in having Brooklyn across their chest. Like, keep those guys in the fold. Another guy, Shams reports free agent forward Zaire Williams intends to sign a 2-year, $12 million deal to return to the Brooklyn Nets. Williams averaged 10 points, 4.3 rebounds in 63 games. Nets officials and yada, yada, yada did the contract. And I don't have the tweet in front of me, but the capper and Carino were talking about him. I think it was Chris Carino if I pull his tweet up. And I liked what Chris Carino had to say about him. I don't have it in front of me, and I just remember he said he plays hard, and you need guys like that play hard. You need guys on your team that they care. Like, the Nets need to get back to that Brooklyn grit. They need to get back to representing the borough. They need to get back to the style of play where they're gritty. Okay, we got to take a break here. It's already 1, and I see Shams just reported 15 minutes ago on LeBron James and the Lakers. So what I'm going to do is look at this LeBron James stuff. When we come back, we're going to talk about LeBron James. We're going to talk about Bron as well. We'll talk about LeBron as well. We'll take your calls on the Knicks head coaching search, as well as Jordan Clarkson and maybe Russell Westbrook joining the team. Nets fans, let us know how you feel about the Cam Johnson, Michael Porter Jr. trade, getting an unprotected first-round pick in 2032, and then bringing back Zaire Williams and Day'Ron Sharpe. More to do. Keith McPherson on the Fan. I'll be right back.
It's Boomer and Gio, mornings on the Fan.
All right, let's see what they're talking about with LeBron. Okay, I got the gist of it. I know what I'm going to say about LeBron. I like the moves the Hawks have made. Yeah. I saw they got Luke Kennard. They're making a push. Well, we'll talk about it. Let me go to Hoops Hype and another website. There was some other stuff I was reading before. We got to talk about Malik Beasley as well. Bugging out. Malik Beasley's bugging out. Insane. What else here? Malik Beasley, I already talked about. Let me cross stuff off in my notes. Oh, that's what I wanted to find. The trade partners thing that I had like last week. The teams and the players, if I can find it, that the Yankees could potentially trade for. I gotta see where that is in my notes. So far back. I take so many notes a day. It's like good luck trying to find them. Okay, here we go. I did find it, actually. Boom. 12 players who could help the Yankees fix their biggest areas of need. And I think now, like, it changes. Like, the biggest area of need is third base. Stop playing DJ LeMahieu. Stop playing with us. And stop thinking DJ is going to just magically turn into 2019 DJ LeMahieu. If you don't pinch it for DJ LeMahieu, what are we doing? You're not really trying to win. Bro, I'm gonna talk about it, bro. Like in plain sight, you can't tell anything. But when they showed Malik Beasley going to score that last bucket, it's so Bush League. Usually when we see that, we think guys are stat padding. We think guys are doing that for their own, box score. Nah, he was covering the spread. He had money on it, and like we're in a crazy time, bro. There was a video today of Gary Payton Jr. on the bench mouthing about like, yo, they might have to go down and shoot again. If they go down and shoot again, they're gonna lose. Like having conversations that gamblers have when watching games. A lot of these players, it's too prevalent. It's too widely available and easy now to gamble. And you'd be a fool to think that more players aren't gambling on a game. Let's see here. Grisham is optimistic about the hamstring. Hopefully it's not too bad. But whatever. You guys wanted Dominguez to play every day? Be careful what you wish for. Here he is. He's going to have to probably lead off too. So be it. All right, what else? I got the trade stuff. I'm tired, man. Monday is always tough because like Sunday night I go to bed. Monday I wake up early and like I try to take a nap today and it's like it's not a real nap because it's like it's not an exhaustion nap. It's like a force this nap because I'm staying up later. And so you don't really sleep. You like close your eyes for a little bit. I think I tried to sleep for an hour. I might have been asleep for 30 minutes.
Good morning at 1 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti. Blue Jays put 4 runs on the board in the 6th to finish up the Yankees 5-4. Carlos Rodon allowed 2 in 5+, running into trouble in the 6th with Mark Leiter Jr. and Jonathan Loaiza unable to put out the fire. Cody Bellinger, Jazz Chisholm each went deep. The Bombers end the month under 500. Worse, Trent Grisham left in the 5th. Hamstring tightness, MRI to come. Also, Fernando Cruz to the IL, high-grade oblique strain, no timetable for his return. Knicks, of course, still looking for a new coach, and Mike Brown set to interview for a second time, but it's not stopping them from making moves. Reportedly expected to bring in veteran Jordan Clarkson once he finishes his buyout with the Jazz, 33-year-old, the former Sixth Man of the Year. And after a breakout year for Cam Johnson, the Nets shipped him out to Denver, that in exchange for Michael Porter Jr. and a first-round pick in 2032. 78 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park. That's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
Okay. I got 15 minutes, man. I'm going to talk about everything that I didn't talk about yet. I get tired of talking about losing. Keith McPherson on the fan. Let's talk hoops a bit. That boy Malik Beasley, wildin'. LeBron, too. LeBron James is 40. And this is what I'm going to say about LeBron before I say what I say next. I love LeBron. You know what I loved about LeBron? At Fanatics Fest, he was making grown men cry. Not just like random fans that pulled up, but like streamers, other people in the media, like people that were able to actually see LeBron, touch LeBron. Like Cam Newton did a whole segment on his podcast about him and Peggy getting to meet LeBron and how Peggy was starstruck and how like, he tried to get a Polaroid picture with LeBron. LeBron is like that. I respect LeBron. I've been on this radio station arguing Jordan versus LeBron. All right, you can say Jordan is the GOAT. LeBron is the GOAT, bro. LeBron is a billionaire still playing. And Malik Beasley's trying to be a billionaire still playing by using FanDuel. But no, with LeBron exercising his $52.6 million player option and then putting out there that, he wants to compete for a title, the first thing I thought in my mind was, Bron, I respect you. I love your career, and like LeBron coming out of St. Vincent, St. Mary. Like LeBron was a few years older. It is still a few years older than me. So like I got to see his whole run through high school, and like we are all witnesses. We are all witnesses to LeBron James. LeBron James is the best basketball player from start to finish that we've ever seen. And I don't care. I know I'm gonna get calls now about him in the finals, and like the recent thing that's popped up is like when we start counting finals appearances, it's about rings. Okay, LeBron, it is about rings. Didn't you just come out on your podcast with Steve Nash talking about ring culture and how we obsess too much over rings? But yet, here you go talking about you want to compete for a title. On what team? Don't say the Knicks. Don't say the Knicks. What other team? Are you gonna go to? You're gonna go back to Cleveland. Cleveland, this is for you. You're gonna go put these Cavs over the top. If my memory serves me correctly, and it doesn't serve me correctly 50% of the time, because I have too much going on as far as watching these sports and figuring things out in life, too many things to think about. Wasn't it LeBron that sold? Wasn't it LeBron that made some mistakes, some mental errors, some physical mistakes in that Timberwolves series? Obviously, it wasn't him alone. But I did hear something that he alluded to, like, how many other players are on the floor, kind of putting blame on his teammates and not having enough with the Lakers. But I remember LeBron either like dribbling a ball off his foot or losing a ball. LeBron getting clamped up by Ant-Man. Like, I don't know. I got to go back. Maybe somebody that was more, locked in and watching. But I feel like that last game when the Timberwolves packed the Lakers up, there was some fingers to point at LeBron James. Like, that's on you, bro. So what team are you joining to bring that to? 888-808-1019. Like, what team is looking for 40-year-old LeBron to cost them? Respect to LeBron in his career. Like I said, he is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time. Mike is the greatest winner. Mike is the greatest, like, killer instinct. If he gets there, he's not losing. But LeBron, when we talk about, like, what LeBron is in America, what he became, his whole story, like, still doing it. Like, LeBron is incredible. And it's not just about finals appearances and winning it. And we'll see what LeBron does here. Just play for the Lakers, bro. Play with Luka. You guys aren't winning the chip this year, but so what? So be it. Accept what it is. Now, Malik Beasley, bro, like, what? We were just in the chat talking about it. Let me go back to the chat. The lone silencer in the chat says that clip of Beasley running to score that layup like he's running from the cops to get the backdoor cover is hilarious. It's hilarious, but it's also alarming. Like, Malik Beasley, you got to laugh because Malik Beasley, we saw this guy, his 3-point prop some nights was cash, other nights it was not anything, and he had to know. But we saw this guy in the Detroit Pistons series against the Knicks. And, Beasley has bounced around a little bit. But you just never suspect that these guys are, star players on the team and have money on the game. But he's, like, under federal investigation now. He got arrested for this, like, NBA gambling investigation. And that video of him, basically the ball comes out of the hoop, there's seconds left, and he is sprinting to go dunk that ball. Yeah, I got it in front of me now. It's Clippers 118. The free throw goes in to make it 119. The Timberwolves have 110. So down 9, he dunks the ball to make them go down 7 with no time left. What was the spread? 7.5. Like, incredible. And you could see it on his face. Talking about sweating your bet. Coast to coast with 5 seconds left to cut the lead from 9 to 7. Oh, and they said the spread was 8.5. Yikes. There's another one of him just stopping his feet Tyrese Halliburton points to his right, almost to signal like a screen was coming. No screen comes. He just stops dead in his tracks. Lets Halliburton blow right by him when he was with the Bucks. So how many of these players are gambling? I think we are in the infancy of sports gambling and learning about it over these last couple years, with it being legalized everywhere. I think in the next couple years, we're going to learn about a lot. Like players are going to get caught up. Players have gotten caught up in Major League Baseball. Oh, speaking of Michael Porter Jr., his brother was arrested and charged. Michael Porter Jr.'s younger brother, Javon Porter, was recently arrested in Missouri on suspicion of driving while intoxicated. That's his other brother. I'm like, this isn't the brother I was thinking of. Oh, his other brother, Coben Porter, was recently sentenced to 6 years. No, wait, wow. He's got some issues going on. He's got multiple family members that have done some things. Javon Porter is 20 years old. He had a DUI. His other brother killed someone in a drunk driving crash. What goes on? I'm trying to find the name of his brother who got in trouble for gambling. He was with the Portland Trail Blazers. Oh, Jonte. Yes, Jonte Porter. Banned from the NBA for life due to gambling violations. So come on down. They'll be at the Barclays Center, the whole Porter family. It's not funny. No, what I was gonna say next. It's not funny. I didn't say it. 888-808-1019. We're talking NBA. We're talking free agency. We're talking about Mike Brown as the Knicks head coach. Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench. Or maybe starting. Russell Westbrook definitely coming off the bench if he comes through. LeBron opting in, but letting it be known that he wants to play for a champion or play for a championship and be a champion. I just don't know who's looking for 40-year-old LeBron to add to their championship team. You're trying to get younger and deeper and whatever. And then Malik Beasley in the news today. He's definitely guilty. Like, there's enough evidence on the internet where they're like, oh, yeah, we can see. We can certainly see. We can see what you were doing. That's why, again, you can't tell me Ohtani had nothing to do with it, yo. You cannot tell me Ohtani, he just didn't know. He had no idea. Had no idea that Ipe was gambling his money. That much money. Oh, Ipe did all of that. Shohei wasn't in on any of that. Okay. Ross is in Bergen County, back on the fan. What's up, Ross?
Keys, my man. How you doing, bro?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. One more thing. I heard you talk about like the Porter brothers are all in disarray. You got to the Jonte thing before I could, but with Michael, there's one thing specifically. I don't know if you remember, he leaked the NBA front office number on like a Snapchat story or something, and they made him delete it like right away. You ever see that one?
Nah. When was this?
There was like a convention or something. Yeah, and like their offices in Secaucus, there was like some sit down, I guess, that he was at, and they had like the phone number to the front office and like the fax number, like all like the personal info. And he just took a picture of like the stage and all like the personal like NBA front office info was like slap dab on the screen, and he had to delete it.
Can't be sharing everything. I just hope he comes through and knocks down some threes and can have some good competitive games for the Brooklyn Nets to steal some games and not be absolute bums this year.
I mean, I saw some of these moves. Like I saw Brook Lopez going after the Clippers. He made sense for a team out in LA. Just I thought it was the other team still playing it. Wasn't now crypto. I don't understand it for the Clippers. They got Zubac and all that. And I mean, aside from that, I mean, what was some of the early names that that got taken off the board? I know hockey starts tomorrow, but I think today was like the official start of the NBA free agency, right? Like this is when all like
the tampering period. It's up. It's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blanking some of the names. Like I remember Luke Kennard to Atlanta or something, but I mean, I don't think there's really any glaring names on this year's free agency.
Dorian Finney-Smith to Houston.
Oh, D'Lo. Yeah, and then D'Lo to
the Mavs.
Yeah. Houston's racking up some names all of a sudden. You know, KD every day replaced Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks with KD and, you know, bringing in, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name now. The guy that just went to Houston. Anyway, the dead air time. Regardless, you know, just overall, like the NBA, bro, I like. Nah, who's the other guy? The DFS.
Dorian Finney-Smith that I just said.
Yeah, I'm blanking. Yeah, my fault. But just overall, you know, getting to the Knicks and Clarkson real quick, I like the move. I saw Russ was kind of in the mix, and I think, you know, you're talking about Laker Russ, Clipper Russ. It kind of looked like he was at a dead end in his career, but I really think the spot he was in with Denver last year, look, you're not getting prime triple-double a night, Russ, obviously, we know that. But if you could get, like, facilitator Russ off the bench, I guess they kind of check that box with Clarkson now. But, hey, at least they're making moves. And at this point, bro, you know, with how this whole coaching situation is going, I wouldn't be mad at selling with a Mike Brown either. You know, hearing the names like with James Borrego, I think I heard Steve Clifford too, you know, thrown in the mix here and there. Borrego, they interviewed, I know for sure. At this point, I wouldn't be mad with settling with a Mike Brown. But like you said, and this is coming from someone who was on board with firing Thibs, if you're going from, you know, a finals appearance, finals victory, or bust, and you're bringing in a guy who's basically his claim to fame as the head coach, at least in his last tenure, is that he changed the culture, which that was kind of like the main grab with Thibs. It just kind of seems like a parallel move. You know what I mean? I don't know what Mike Brown's going to do that Thibs couldn't do. I feel like, you know, Malone was the obvious name, and like you said, that was probably the one and only name that was never even mentioned from the get-go. Like, really, the only mention of his name was from fans like me on Twitter. But, you know, you talked about Dawn Staley got mentioned more than Malone, you know, in terms of like legitimate interviews and interest. So aside from that, I don't know who else there is to turn to in terms of, you know, on another level compared to Thibs. But, you know, compared to some of the other names they're throwing around, I feel like Mike Brown's the best they got. So I don't know, man. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, Mike Brown, thanks for the call, Ross. He's just a stand-in. It's, you stand in here, coach the team, don't screw this up, and we got to hope that the rest falls into place. 888-808-1019. I think Mike Brown is just a guy that, like, he's going to be the great beneficiary of the Knicks. If he's the guy, he's just a great beneficiary of the Knicks, you know, growing tired of Tibbs. Or James Dolan not, you know, being at the Sphere in Vegas and coming back and sitting on the hardwood at MSG, thinking that this was a year that he was going to the finals and getting that smell in his nose of hosting the finals and saying, wait, we're this close? And this guy failed. He's gone. Somebody can get us there, and it ain't going to be him. Mike Brown, I guess. But I just don't think that you fire your coach. I don't think that anybody in the NBA is firing their coach to hire Mike Brown. That's why he was available. That's why he got canned. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the Knicks are doing, man. It'd be great if they spoke. It'd be great if, like, Leon Rose popped out. It'd be great if Worldwide West popped out, or even Dolan. Pop out and tell us what you're thinking, what you're working on, who you're looking for. Was Dawn Staley just something to throw out there for media attention? I don't think you need the attention. Was that a Rooney Rule type of thing? Okay, we're going to interview a woman, or we're going to request to interview a woman. I don't know what that does. You know what? Earlier I mentioned, and this is just going back to what I was talking about with the Mets and baseball, I mentioned the passing of Dave Parker, and I went in my notes, and I knew I had something. So Nick Gonzalez, who was wearing Dave Parker's number 39, actually was quoted saying, it just meant a little more playing today with that number. Personally, I think it should be retired. I think I should get a new number, honestly. So maybe that, like, the Pirates did have some heavy hearts, and there was some conversation about, hey, you know, the Pirates family, community fans, they're mourning right now. Like, let's go out there and play well and have a good show. And they did. They swept the Mets. And that leads into this series coming up where Mike Puma writes, the Mets have Clay Holmes, Blade Tidwell, and David Peterson lined up for the Milwaukee series. That would leave Paul Blackburn and Frankie Montas going into the Subway Series. And I think for the Yankees, you saw Marcus Stroman pitch Sunday and do a good job. All things considered, good job, Marcus Stroman. Good to have you back for that spot start. They won the series. I think there were a ton of Yankee fans, doom and gloom. I think there were a ton of Yankee fans expecting that. I was in there. First off, Stroman came back with the beat, boy. He had a Young Thug song, And there was another song he was playing. I'm like, this place is rocking right now because it's his warm-up music. And he did what he had to do. If you go to my Instagram, there's a video of me from weeks ago. Shout out to Eric from Bayville, a.k.a. New York Minute on Instagram, where when Stroman was even mentioned about coming back, I was like, if Stroman can give us 5 innings of like a few hits and 1 or 2 run ball, I'll take it. And then Eric joked, like, are you drinking right now? There's no way. I'm like, he did it. His first outing, he gave that to us, and the Yankees were able to do the rest. Remember, it was Brian Cashman who went to his home in Tampa last year when the Yankees didn't sign Blake Snell and they had to pivot and they needed someone else in the rotation. And they went and got Marcus Stroman and gave him this contract, which like now that contract is not going to vest. I was on Sportsnet 590 in Toronto earlier talking about how, Stroman was shut down last year. So when you talk about return on investment, they didn't need him at the second half of last year. They didn't even pitch him in the postseason. He wasn't even on the first. I don't think he was on the roster for the ALDS. And then this whole offseason, the conversation was, where are they trading him? They got to trade him. They don't need him. They got to trade him. They don't got to trade him. They signed Max Fried. They got Garrett Cole. They got Max Fried. They got Carlos Rodon, Luis Heel, Clark Schmidt, Will Warren, Carlos Carrasco, Now you need him. You always need depth. We'll see what he's able to do. I think it's going to line up here where you see Marcus Stroman game 1 Friday night, Citi Field. Carlos Rodon Saturday, Max Fried on Sunday. Bob is in Los Angeles on the Fan in New York. Hello, Bob.
Hey, Keith, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I want to talk about Brian Cashman. Before you do, I want to tell you my little LeBron joke that if he goes back to Cleveland next year, figure he takes the Lakers for $50 million, does like a veteran minimum, they're going to win a championship. You can go, Cleveland, this was for me.
Well played. Well played. It will be for him.
By the way, I'm a Laker fan. It's all about him. I'm happy for our ring 2020. To me, it's a ring. But being in a relationship with him, bless him, it's all about him.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, he just came back to New York for Fanatics Fest. And I had a conversation with one of my boys because the video went viral. The New Yorkers hounding him like, you'll never be Kobe. You'll never be MJ. He was in New York when that AD trade went down. He was in New York, they played the Knicks. It was eating at some fancy restaurant in New York when that news broke. And I think LeBron is thinking about, hey, okay, you guys are going in a different direction. Also, Jeannie Buss sold the team. And, I don't think he really wants to be there. It is all about him. I just think it's laughable that he's talking about wanting to win a championship and be on a championship team. Bro, like, the Timberwolves got y'all out of the paint. And you were one of the main culprits. Like, they attacked you. Like, you were giving it up. You were part of the losing more than the winning.
Yeah, man. No, he's a diva. I always say, I disagree with you. I think Jordan's number one in every way you look at it. Jordan to me is an alpha, and LeBron, good as he is, he's a beta. It's just not the same. He's not a killer, and you kind of want your athletes to be killers. But I want to talk to you about Cashman only because there's only so much you can say. But I've been I'm not a huge fan, and we're gonna have to go through this, that, the other. My question is this, man. At this point, it feels like he owns the team. It feels like he's a Steinbrenner. Like everyone always says, a new room, a new voice, a new perspective, new point of view. I don't even know how long he's been there. It feels more like he's a Steinbrenner than an employee, and I don't know what it's going to take. But for me, new blood, new opinion. They were joking. The Pittsburgh Pirates, people put bat to ball. They can figure that out. I can't, but someone can. So my question for you is this, man. Really, what's it going to take? And isn't it weird to you? I can't think of any other GM, even any other coach except Pop, that has this level of being associated, almost like he's a permanent fixture. And I got to say, it's been driving me nuts for a long time, and it seems like nothing's changing. He's a freaking honorary Steinbrenner.
Thanks for the call, Bob. What I always say is he's the Yankees' eternal GM. And I forget what article I read last year or 2 years ago that referred to Cashman as the Yankees' eternal GM. And I'm like, that's exactly what he is. Like, Cashman has an extension. He read up his contract, but he's not going anywhere. I've joked that the Yankees to replace him would need him in those meetings. They would need him to interview the person. He would need he's got to be fully involved with the plan to for his successor, whoever comes in after him. And he's not going anywhere. I think he wants to win another World Series. But they got to the World Series last year, lost, but played all their home games, and they made bank. And I'm not somebody that leans into this, but Yankee fans say it all the time. Hey, as long as that place is sold out, as long as they're good enough to win and be competitive, they're happy. And I've heard them talk about the crapshoot that the postseason is, and I think that they do sleep fine at night just being like, hey, that's baseball. Because that's the whole mantra. That's the whole message. That's the whole culture and demeanor. It's never even in June, and I get it, but it's never this it's us accountability thing. It's always oh yeah, it's gonna happen. Oh, those are plays we should have made, didn't make them. Oh, we had some good at bats. Oh, we made some pitches, had some bad luck. That's baseball. It's 162. That's it. Cashman's not going anywhere, bros, and neither is Boone. So, you guys can lose that. It's not going to change until they change. And you know what I also realized too? It is going to change 1 year in the future, and it might change for the worse. We might go all the way back. What if they have multiple seasons where they're not? The New York Yankees. They're not in first place. They're not winning games. We could be in a situation where you don't know what you got till it's gone. I do give Cashman props and credit for we win all the time. So much so that we're not content with going 13-14 this month. Most teams in Major League Baseball, 13 and 14, they're just a decent June. We'll get after them in July. Cashman has to make moves at this deadline. Cashman has to get a third baseman. Has to get somebody in the back of his bullpen. Has to see what else is out there too. Honestly. Because I really do feel like this team can get through the American League. The Tigers, maybe. Tarek Skubal. And we all got to see what Tarek Skubal is. I mean, not just Sunday Night Baseball, but every time we faced him. He does scare me. I don't want to see him in any type of series where he can pitch twice. I don't want to see Gleyber Torres either. That would be Gleyber Torres' revenge. And they've got a good manager, AJ Hinch, who's already won, and good players littered throughout that team. The Houston Astros, speaking of AJ Hinch, the Houston Astros are good again too. When are they not? And if they see the Yankees in the postseason, they do not fear them. So the Rays, like I already said, the Rays don't fear the Yankees. The Rays look at the Yankees like yo, whatever. We'll beat them. Kevin Cash will outmanage Aaron Boone, and head to head, we're not worried about them. We'll be the ones hosting the American League Championship Series and World Series. So it's just where we are. It is unfortunate because I do feel like they've got a ton of talent. I mean, they drafted and developed the best player in the game. Hello. The Yankees have Aaron Judge. But you can get in a game like tonight where John Schneider's I'm not letting this guy beat me. I'm not letting this guy affect the game. Walk him. See what they do next. 888-808-1019. What we'll do next is go to the thing that I said I had. I went all the way back to my notes to find it. 12 players who could help the Yankees fix their biggest areas of need. We'll go through those players. This was put out by New York Post Sports and John Heyman MLB on Instagram. We'll talk through that. I will comb through my notes with other things that I didn't speak on, like the Dolphins-Steelers trade. As we're talking about Cashman making trades, let's talk about that Dolphins-Steelers trade. I can't wait till we have the NFL back, honestly. Especially if these teams continue to suck in July. If they continue to just let us down in July, start the football. Start the football. I could talk about all 32 NFL teams. It doesn't matter. And not just Jets and Giants. Whatever team you're an NFL fan of, hey, if you're an NFL fan of any of those teams and you want to call me up now, I'll take the call. But yeah, when we come back, I'll talk about the 12 players who could help the Yankees. We'll talk a little bit about the Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, Minka Fitzpatrick trade. And then we'll close things down. Running out of time. Got about 23 minutes left. This is Keith McPherson on the Fan Dial. 888-808-1019. BRB.
This week on The Fan.
Keep listening for your chance
I'm just looking at my notes and looking at other stuff to add to the last conversations here. What happened in sports today? Somebody tell me. Obviously, NBA free agent frenzy. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Yankees can't win close games. Correct. The Yankees are, where's the stat? I had it. The Yankees are 12-17. Yankees are 12-17. 12-17 in one-run games this season. That's not good. That's the postseason. Postseason games end 3-2. 1-0. Shout out John Heyman always. Always got to show love and the utmost respect to the legend that is John Heyman. Don't you dare disrespect John Heyman. We are blessed to have him, Arson Judge, and I can't believe it. Exactly. If they fire Cashman, who are they replacing him with? Be careful what you wish for in that regard. Like, the next GM of the Yankees might not have the run that Cashman has had, might not have the luck that he has had. Cashman knows a lot, and Cashman is respected. So the lack of Malone being mentioned for jobs makes me think something happened behind the scenes in Denver that is not getting out to the. Yeah. So the word is that Malone was like disagreeing with the front office and like beefing with. As a coach, you can't beef with the GM and challenge the front office. Who's going to want to bring you in? And if that starts to circulate, then people are like, nah, I'm not bringing him here to undermine me. Yeah, most people are saying that Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. trade, good trade. Okay, I got that queued up. I'm just looking for anything else that might have broke during the shift that I'm in that I might have missed. Any news that came out tonight? For Cam Johnson, Justin, elaborate. How many more super teams for Durant? This is last one. And it's not going to be a super team, but they are going to be good. They're going to be good. They got a good coach. They're getting good players. KD is going to play well there, former Texas Longhorn. How you feel about the Knicks bringing back Mike? Nah. It just doesn't look good that you fired Tom Thibodeau for that. All right, let's get back to it. Yeah, we got some random beats in the system, the Mystica. we could probably pull this one too. Like, not for nothing. Like, I think I was on and I talked about Robin Thicke in that song and like the charges that were brought on Robin Thicke after that. There also was some charges that were brought on to Mr. Cal. It's like, we don't even need to play their music. We don't need to support them after we know what we know about them. What do I know? I say that a lot, I'm not a know-it-all, not the smartest guy, not a dummy either. But you call up, I give you time to speak. You may know better than I do. 888-808-1019. We kind of arrive at thoughts and takes together. I give you time because I don't think because I'm the host that I know everything and that I know better than you. There might be something that you know better. And if I know better than you, I'll keep us in bounds. So let's run through a few things. I was talking about how I knew in my notes, not too long ago, about a week ago, this came up. 12 players who could help the Yankees fix their biggest areas of need. Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner on the cover photo. First up is Ryan Helsley from the St. Louis Cardinals. Next, Emmanuel Clase. Are you kidding? They're not going to give us Emmanuel Clase. But could you imagine Emmanuel Clase in the back of that bullpen with Weaver, with Devin Williams? Elite. Joan Duran from the Minnesota Twins. Cade Smith from the Cleveland Guardians. Maybe Cade Smith's rendition of God Bless America. Maybe they give us Cade Smith. Here's David Bednar from the Pirates, who I already suggested. Shelby Miller from the Diamondbacks. Jake Bird from the Rockies. These are all relief pitchers. These are all relief pitchers that I've named so far. Relievers. Back of the bullpen guys that can help out. Felix Bautista. Batista coming from the Orioles. I don't know how inclined they'd be to do that. Hunter Gaddis would be funny just because, the year after Hunter Gaddis gives up the home run to Juan Soto that sent the Yankees back to the World Series. Imagine him in pinstripes and fighting for the Yankees, and he'd be able to keep his beard. I don't know about the long hair. He'd have to trim the long hair a little bit, but he'd be able to keep somewhat of a beard. Brian Baker from the Baltimore Orioles. Dennis Santana from the Pirates. Danny Colombe from the Minnesota Twins. Those are the 12 relievers. And I'm going to bookmark this just in case I got to go back to that because people are going to ask, so you got any relievers? Any ideas? Any ideas on who the Yankees should go after? Here's 12 names, 12 randoms. I also said we were going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers trade. Now, when it first came through, I even tweeted out today. I was like, "Oh, Pittsburgh, their sports talk radio must be lit today." I don't know anybody over there besides Andrew Filipponi. I'm sure he had a good show today because you're coming off of the Pittsburgh Penguins making 13 picks in the NHL draft. You're coming off the Pittsburgh Pirates sweeping the Mets, one of the worst teams in the National League versus one of the better teams in the National League. And then you wake up Monday and the Steelers have Jalen Ramsey coming through to help them in their secondary. They already signed Darius Slay from the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles to help their secondary. There was some stuff about TJ Watt. Multiple teams have been discussing whether they can trade for him. The Steelers want to keep him. And there's a lot of chatter that, Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, who have just been like 9-8, who have been kind of on the they're right there. They can make the playoffs, but they don't break through. Like, this is the year they're trying to break through with Aaron Rodgers. So here's the full terms of the trade. The Steelers will get Jalen Ramsey, also Jonnu Smith, a 2007 7th-round pick. The Dolphins will get Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 2027 5th-round pick. Minkah Fitzpatrick, the pride of St. Peter's Prep, down there in Jersey City, right off of Grand Street. I lived at 232 Grand, and I lived at 460 Grand in Jersey City. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Roll Tide, also went to Bama with Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa is how you pronounce his name. I'm just thinking of all these other things from this trade. I mean, he reunites with Tua, and then he also goes back to Miami, who I believe drafted him. But what are the Steelers cooking up here? The Steelers get Jonnu Smith, who, like, I got Jonnu Smith in fantasy after the first week that he had decent points, and he honestly helped carry me to the championship. Like, he was that good as a tight end find off the waiver wire last year. He balled. He had multiple touchdown games. I don't know why they would give him up. I guess they have another tight end. They feel like they can make another Jonnu Smith. Huge get for Aaron Rodgers. I think he can be a great playmaker for them. Jalen Ramsey, people want to say he's washed, say he's cooked. I don't think he's washed. I don't think a cornerback of his caliber isn't just washed and cooked that quickly. He can definitely strap some guys up. He can definitely make some tackles, play defense. I think they're cooking with something over there. And Jonnu Smith reunites with Arthur Smith. So I'm sure he's got a plan for him. They were together in Tennessee and Atlanta. I'm sure he's got a plan for him. The Steelers are trying to go all in. The Steelers are trying to win. And they have to make moves like this in a division with Lamar Jackson, in a division with Joe Burrow, and in a division with Shedeur Sanders. Just kidding. Shedeur Sanders is not going to be the starter. It's going to be interesting, though. It's going to be interesting to see if they can turn down all the hype of Shedeur Sanders and his followers. They've got too many quarterbacks. I just saw a report today that, like, Deshaun Watson could be ready to practice by the end of the season. And with all the money that they're paying him, come on down. They've got Kenny Pickett. They've got Joe Flacco. They've got Dylan Gabriel. Like, there's a chance that, and I think this would be for the best, there's a chance that Shedeur Sanders gets cut. And if he gets cut, somebody's scooping him. He's gonna play somewhere else. But yeah, NFL conversations coming up. Around the Yankees, I did see an article that Trent Grisham, like this hamstring scare, I don't think it's going to be as bad as his hamstring was in spring training that he tweaked as soon as he started getting it going, and they expect him back. But I think the story is now you're going to see Dominguez play every day. Now, the Yankees made some moves going into today with Fernando Cruz being hurt. Now he's down. Now Grisham's down. So many Yankee fans have been saying they need to play Dominguez every day. Why is Dominguez not in there after he had 4 hits? Where's Dominguez? It doesn't matter if it's a righty or lefty on the mound. Dominguez should be in there. They're ruining his development. Well, here you go. So when he has those games that he strikes out 3 times, or and I don't want to get on his defense. He's been playing well defensively. Like, he threw Springer out at third base. He was on that. Dominguez, you will see in there every single day. And I hope he has a big series. I hope he comes through these next 3 games and has a moment. Maybe he hits the ball out. He's got to get the power back. And I think seeing pitches every day, having at-bats every day will help. And the Yankees need some help. They can't drop this series. They can't lose 3 out of 4 to Toronto here. Before you know it, Toronto will be in first place. They'll be looking up at them. Tony's in Montreal on the fan. What's up, Tony?
How you doing, Keith? I just was following your LeBron comments about, you don't have to always win have to win the championship to be a champion. I agree with that to a certain extent, but, I know hockey a lot better. And, there's Montreal Canadiens players like Henri Richard has 11 Stanley Cups. Beliveau has 10. Claude Provost has 9. He was the then Bennett, like the same player that you see in Florida, and he's got 9 Stanley Cups as a defensive forward. Jacques Lemaire has 8. Cornway has 8. I could go through the whole list. Mm-hmm. Out of the top 25, they're mostly Canadians. And we talk about players like Brady. He's the GOAT. He's got 6. You really think Brady is the best quarterback in baseball, in football?
No,
I don't.
That's a great sidebar to add to the GOAT conversation. He's the GOAT as far as winning. He's not the most athletic. He didn't have the best seasons. He didn't even have the best Super Bowls in some of those wins.
Yeah, correct. And he was helped out by a great coach, great coaching staff, amazing defense, and some of those plays, like on the 1-yard line against Atlanta, come on, man. You got a ring out of that. You didn't even play that great that game. But my ultimate is a guy by the name of Marino that came out of Western Pennsylvania. And you have some amazing quarterbacks that came out of there, like Joe Montana. But I just wanted to say one other thing tonight about the Yanks. Okay, they look ordinary, Keith. You know, I love the Yanks. But you got Guerrero. Guerrero always seems to come up with that, like the nail. He hit the ball on the nail, and like he really makes a difference, you know. But you know, I love seeing Judge and Guerrero on the field. It's unbelievable to see that type of talent right there. But around Judge, I'm sorry, a lot of your callers calling on third base. That guy didn't look too good tonight, you know. And there's a couple of mistakes. I just was wondering, the Springer, did he get kicked into the Adam's apple? Is that what happened to him? He looked like he was choking on it. He looked like he was choking on that, you know?
He slid right into Jazz's knee.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thanks for the call, Tony. 888-808-1019. We're just getting a lot of feedback, and I did want to jump in on a few things. You know, the GOAT conversations are good because, you know, it's subjective and it's you know, how you feel. Even Bob in Los Angeles, like, I disagree with you. You know, it's Jordan. It's not, though. Like, when we actually stack up all of the stats and all of these things from when we learned about these players to like LeBron's not done. And if you want to say Jordan's got 2 more rings than him and whatever, like, it's just, I just think there's a ton of things, and this younger generation has it. I don't have the time to run through all of the accolades and LeBron things. Like, you know, I don't even care that he's the all-time, you know, scoring leader. I just think, like, basketball player, complete basketball player on and off the floor, what he is. Like, they're even giving LeBron credit because of what his son is. LeBron, successfully, his firstborn kid, plays high school, goes to USC, comes out of USC, gets drafted by the Lakers, and is playing in the NBA. He's an NBA player. What about MJ? What about Marcus? He's done nothing but embarrass MJ, so much so he pulled up with Larsa Pippen. He was dating Scottie Pippen's wife. The last we saw of him, he got arrested for drunk driving, and I think he had a Yale possession. Like, he got caught with some controlled dangerous substances. The boy drove his car into the train tracks and couldn't get him off. Like people use Bronny in the GOAT conversation. I just think it's like if we were to ever stack all of these accolades and things and numbers at LeBron, it wouldn't be close to Jordan. But we're just going to use Jordan's 6 rings and look at the era and the time. It's a different time. LeBron, I will give credit to, like, who was standing across the court from him. Like, he had to deal with another GOAT. Steph should be in the GOAT conversation more than they put him in the GOAT conversation. But yeah, with Tom Brady, that's a perfect comp. Is Tom Brady the best quarterback you've ever seen? Some people say Dan Marino is better than him. Dan Marino got a ring? No. How many Super Bowls Dan Marino go to? It's about the team around him. It's about the other players. You don't play alone. Like, if it's golf or it's tennis, that's different. You can have those GOAT conversations of who actually is because they play alone. But, like, Jordan had teammates too. And some of them hit big shots and played defense and came up clutch too. So he could be the absolute killer. And then, you know, when we talk about GOATs with the Yankees, you know, Judge, I said Judge is the greatest player I've laid eyes on, but they can take him out of the game. He can also take himself out of the game. You know, speaking of Judge, I noticed something with Judge. It was Saturday where I noticed the stubble, where I started calling him like 5 o'clock shadow Judge, stubble Judge. And Judge was someone who was very vocal about the beard policy. And, you know, he's like, if you know, shaving your beard is too much for you, then maybe you don't belong here. Like, he was trying to be Captain Judge. He was trying to be Mr. Yankee. But I think superstitious baseball Judge kicked in, and now that we have the right to grow our beard some, I never seen Judge with as much facial hair as he had Saturday into Sunday. Now, if you're familiar with Yankee Stadium and season ticket holders and what goes on, it was photo day on Sunday. And from what I was told, Judge was moved through very quickly. And shout out to the Creatures. I know the Creatures were out there. I know Becky and Patches and all of them, like, organized for the Bleacher Creatures to be on the field. I heard Dave Sims talking about how he got to meet the actual Bleacher Creatures and how great it was. Now, not too many of them have pictures with Judge, but There is one picture I'm looking at with Judge, and he's got the stubble. But I think he went in and shaved. And I also heard that he had a back issue. They asked him after the game about his back. So I think he went in and got treatment on his back. Judge is a creature of habit and superstitious. And you always hear about his preparation for the game and what he does, how he prepares every day. Like I remember Rizzo talking about how, Judge, how he prepares every day. And I think Photo Day was cutting into his routine. But Judge comes out, takes pictures with fans on the warning track. He's got the stubble. I think he shaved the stubble. He goes back in to, get some treatment on his back. He has a 2-homer day. Judge is back. Simple as that. He goes and hits 2 bombs. And you know what I like most about Judge and the home run that he hit, the second one that I didn't get to see because I had to get my son up out of there? The A's pitcher, Tyler Ferguson, voiced a desire to strike Judge out, and it backfired on him. Be careful what you wish for. He learned the hard way. The pitcher told a local TV station last year that he wanted to strike Aaron Judge out, and he didn't get the chance to face him. Well, he got that chance Sunday, and when the opportunity came, Judge didn't forget. That's the attitude. That's what I wish they could have done to Hunter Dobbins. That's the attitude. That's the approach. That's how Judge works as a captain. Like, yeah, I heard what you said. I heard you talking. I'm going to do something about it this way. I'm not going to say anything to you. Did you see Ian Hamilton getting in Jacob Wilson's face over the weekend? I'm just like, what is Ian Hamilton on? He hasn't been great. He's got this look of a stone cold killer. But like Jacob Wilson, he's a rookie, bro. I think he said something like he didn't run out of the box. He's got to get out of the box as a rookie. Like he was being like a veteran. Like, let's see. Yeah, I have that in my notes too. Ian Hamilton told Jacob Wilson to run out of the box in the 7th inning. In quotes, he wasn't running out of the box. I was upset with the inning, and that was that. He asked me what I said, and I just walked off. And then Judge kind of, pulled up and tried to, like, make peace. No more making peace. It's July. Like, how about you start a fight? Let the benches clear. Let the, as we're talking about Springer and Vladdy, you're supposed to fight these guys. These guys are always talking about you, the Blue Jays. Can't lose this series to them. And the Mets got to get right against the Milwaukee Brewers. And I don't know. You might have a better shot at getting to Freddie Peralta than getting at Jacob Mizorowski. No one has gotten to him yet. So Mets got to win today. Yankees got to win today. Must wins for both the Mets and Yankees to start off July and put June in the past. 888-808-1019. By this time when you call, you're talking to Big Mac. I'm running out of time here. Yeah, I'm not even going to get to the last thing I wanted to say. I was going to talk about Luis Severino and that 2 hitters comment that he had last year and how this season he goes 7 2/3 innings pitched, giving up 14 hits, 14 earned runs. He got rocked. 5 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 16.43 ERA for Sevy. He had the cleats going, though. Those 13s, he had on these green 13s, Jordan 13s. Look nice. You look good. You pitch good. Unless you're tipping your pitches again, Sevy. The Mets want to trade for Severino? I don't think that would be wise, bringing Sevy back. That's all I got. They're going to fix it, though. If Steve Cohen is out there tweeting about tough stretch, no sugarcoating it, I didn't see this coming, well, they're going to work on it. They're not going to just sit in the passenger seat and let the Mets continue to crash. Pitching's going to come back, and the hitting's going to break through. And I think tomorrow night, well, tonight now, I think when I come back later tonight, we'll be talking about 2 wins. I think I'm on at 7. Anyway, C-Max coming up next. I'm out of here. Good night.
Sports Radio 101.9 FM.
With over 90 years of combined legal experience.
Bro, they brought Scott Effross back for a game. If you go search Scott Effross, he appeared in 1 game and they sent him right back down. So I don't know that answer. Where Scott Effross is and what he's doing, where in the world is Scott Effross, I do not know. All right, I got to get out of the way. Big Mac's coming in. Appreciate y'all, man. See y'all tomorrow. Hit like on the way out. It helps the algorithm. And go check out, if you're on the page, go check out the long form content I dropped. We got some more stuff coming.